This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. Just like me.
Welcome back for another week of Red Pill misinformation. We are going to
stats and fake news.
We are going to jail this week.
Yes,
the black helicopters are already surrounding us with the audience that we have here today. Let's get it going. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and introduce our guest today. She's from Fort Hood in Killeen, Texas. It's Allie. She's an aspiring medical student. Give her a round of applause. Very nice. She is a dancer and a choreographer from New York. It is Loretta, one of the Double Time twins. Yes, sir. And the fastest growing podcast there is. It's the No Fugazi podcast from Pennsylvania. It's Mr. David Cooley.
From Pennsylvania.
Nice. From Warsaw, Poland. She is one of the finalists for the Girls of Summer Bikini competition, and she's an exotic dancer here in Las Vegas. It is Alice. What's going on, Alice? Nice. And she is a lieutenant in the United States Army from Los Angeles. She is the host of the Amy Is show. It is Miss Queen Amy. How's it going? Beautiful. All right. She is a professional threesome coordinator and former Playboy Playmate. Jessie Preston. How's it going, Jessie?
Should we tell her what the secret was?
Jessie.
Just shut up.
Jessie.
Off camera.
Coming to a vagina near you. Jessie Preston. All right, here we go. She's a holistic health coach and a former fitness competitor from Bloomville, Ohio. It is Miranda. How's it going? Nice. And then also, he is from Michigan. He is the host of The Crucible. The Crucible himself, Andrew Wilson. How's it going, man?
What's up?
Good to have you.
I can't believe I stopped a 2-day Vegas bender for this shit.
That's incredible. Well, you can keep drinking while you're on the air. It's like we don't have to stop you here. And then if you're very confused, you should be, because she's the other one of the Double Time twins. It is Ava. She's a dancer and a choreographer from New York. Awesome. Great to have everybody here. Let's start this thing off.
Sure.
You saw something that you showed me that got my blood boiling.
Well, this has been like floating around the internet for the last week or so, and I actually inspired the title of today's show. So I figured we might want to lead off with this one. But before we do, maybe we should go around the horn. Does the world need men?
The world?
Yes.
We all need each other.
Do you need men?
I don't need men.
You don't need men. Do you need men?
In a particular way, I feel like I need a man. You know, like in that I'm personally more of a traditional woman. I do like that need, whereas like the protector, to feel safe, that is the kind of need that I need. But that being said, it doesn't mean that I need him to survive. I will say that I came from a very masculine upbringing because I grew up very poor and very like put down from my dad. So it turned me into a very masculine woman, and I, interacted with a lot of men. During that time, during my upbringing, I had a lot of bad interactions because I was very masculine. I ended up attracting very, the polar opposite. But then once I learned that and I took some time to myself and fully embodied my feminine energy, that's when I actually called in a true masculine man.
Miranda, in season, how many plates can you leg press? In season.
Can I leg press?
How many? Can you do 4? Like 400?
I've done up to 6 on each side.
You've done six 45-pound plates on each side?
Yes.
When I met you, that was one of the things I thought. I was like, this girl can squat.
Andrew, do you think that women need men?
Women would go extinct within 90 days if there was no men.
Oh, thank you, Aaron Clary.
Very nice.
Do you think that...
I'm going to completely disagree with what you just said.
Okay.
I think I'm going to disagree with everything he says.
So just so we're clear, if an EMP went exploded over say Kansas and knocked out all the electrical circuits in the United States, 95% of the population would be dead within 3 weeks. So he's not wrong. I agree with him. Like statistically,
are we
90 days? I think all women would die without men. men. Yeah, it'd be pretty
Oh,
bad.
so
But
we're
that's
not just
because
talking
you guys
about
put
like
yourself
our
in that
like.
position
Huh?
to.
We're not just talking about like our own individual lives. We're talking about like the world.
I mean,
Like, do women
is there some girl in
both.
Wyoming with a fucking axe and a shotgun who could probably make it 90 days? Yeah, probably. There's probably
Okay, like the world, yes, obviously, of course, we need men and women. Individually, like, I guess it's up to the woman to decide whether or not.
What about
she
you
needs it.
personally? Do you need men?
Well, yeah, I love my dad and my brother and my nephews, so yes, I need men.
Do you
Allie.
need men?
I will say yes, I do.
You do. Wow.
Yes.
Loretta needs men.
Ned?
David.
You think
Yeah,
they
the
need-
world needs a man. Women are indecisive creatures, so they need a man for guidance.
There you go.
Yes. Jesse can't figure out what she's going to say about that. She can't
No,
decide.
I 100%.
I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
I wholeheartedly agree. I just think that men also position themselves since the beginning of time to be the ones that learned how to build and learned how to drive and learned how to create certain things. So now women are in this situation where if you guys disappeared,
He's such a prick.
if guys disappeared, I mean, we would struggle for a very long time. But I think that women could eventually get to the point where they can figure stuff out.
Andrew, what do you think about this?
Do you need men?
Yeah, I'm very happily married.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I like men. I love men. I want men. I want women as well. But yeah, I absolutely. Think
sorry,
that
what
we
was your
need-
rank
need
again?
men.
I'm first lieutenant.
First lieutenant.
I'm not
just-
in anymore.
First lieutenant.
but
Okay.
yeah.
Do you need?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree that women need men. I would disagree that women generalized would be lost without men in terms of like their ability to make their own decisions and be decisive, because I'm very decisive. I'm a leader in the military.
Well, how would that be possible since you're a neurotic creature naturally? So
I
that means-
don't know who you're talking about, but you're not talking about
Well,
me.
I'm speaking in general.
Yeah.
in
Well,
general.
I don't
Not you.
subscribe to your idea that women are neurotic. I'm not neurotic.
Do you know what? Do you know the differences
you don't know
between
me.
like generalities and?
No, I
do?
definitely do. Yeah, I'm educated, real
Okay,
educated.
fair enough. But I mean,
Um,
it sounds like you really don't understand what generalities is. Want me to explain it for you?
Wait,
Parking
hold
lots.
on a second. Why are you fighting with me right now?
I'm not fighting. I mean, I said something.
This
that
was
you said
my
you
turn to
disagreed with.
answer a question, and I was just saying I disagree with your statement.
Fair enough.
Jory, let's roll tape now. Now's the time to roll the tape.
I was just saying I disagree with your statement that women in general, which is what your statement was.
Amy, let me ask you a question. Are women as decisive as men in general? Let's say the middle standard deviation. So this is a normal distribution of men and women. Do men make more decisive decisions than women, do you think?
I would say, well, first of all, I don't have enough data, but what I do know from my own experience in my own, workforce, et cetera, there's way more men in leadership positions.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons for that.
they're
I
better
love
at it.
men. I would totally disagree, quote unquote, they're better at it. But I definitely think men are important. They're valued. They're needed. They're an essential part of the world. So I love men. Men are awesome.
Beautiful. Andrew, you had a comment about what Jesse said earlier. What were you thinking?
Yeah, so you think that the reason that women aren't building things because that was like nobody taught them how? That's what you think?
You're asking me
Yeah.
a non-rhetorical question. I mean,
Non-rhetorical.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that since the beginning of time, men have put themselves at a higher education and Okay, good. Tell me why I'm wrong.
How are they?
Please.
How are they able to put themselves above women?
You tell me from history.
Well, let me ask
I'm
you.
asking. Well, hang on. It was your statement. You said men have kept women away from the ability to do things that men generally do.
Weren't women not allowed to go to school for a really long
Yeah.
time?
So
Weren't
how
men
are,
put into government
right,
political
yep,
positions?
I agree with all that.
Okay.
How is it though that men are able to do that and women can't stop them?
You tell me. I don't know, because they would get killed. They would be overpowered.
Right. So it's a
Okay.
force applicator, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're talking about force, got to ask you something. Do you think that your rights come from you, or do you think your rights come from men?
100% they come from men.
They 100% come from men, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So men are the ones who give you your rights. I just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
Because you've put yourselves in that position, yes.
And you can't take us out of that position, women.
And I can't what?
Women can't take us out of that position. Only men can, right?
Well, maybe a woman could tell you get a manicure because you need one.
Okay. What's happening right now? Okay.
Jory, quick, give me the tape.
Yeah, here's a personal insult. Anyway, so back to where we were at.
Well, that just lowered you down really far.
No, stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
you don't have to go
Stop.
personal.
We need
Just
men.
come in with information. You don't need to make fun of someone's voice.
You mean the woman who just attacked me? The woman who just attacked.
Oh my
attacked
God,
me
you're
back?
such a
That's too
victim. I
much?
feel so bad for you. You were attacked.
All right,
Oh my God. Everyone I feel so bad for you.
I'm
You
glad
were
that there's.
attacked.
I'm glad that there's
Oh,
two twins here. It's
no.
twice as stupid. That's perfect.
I mean, like, we definitely should focus on the intelligent side of the conversation instead of going personal.
Well, a statement I made in the beginning, I said that women are indecisive creatures and they need guidance, right? I made that statement, and then I backed it up. You said, well, you disagree
But that's
with
about
that.
me.
But
You're saying that about my gender.
Let me just finish my sentence. And then you said, well, I disagree. I said that, well, generally women are neurotic, right? Neurotic means that they experience more negative emotions. And you just proved it, because why are you so irate right now when we're having a regular conversation?
You were the first person to jump down
I
at
didn't
me.
jump down your
yes,
throat. We're
you
having
did.
a conversation.
No, we weren't having a conversation. I was giving my answer, and you
We're
jumped
having a
on me.
conversation, but you're the only one that's experiencing negativity.
No,
from
that's
it.
you.
I'm not experiencing.
You were the
any
first person to do that
No,
on
I'm
this
not.
whole
It's
show.
actually very
Replay the
positive
tape.
for me.
Replay the tape. You were the first person to do it.
It's not about what I'm
Actually,
doing. It's
she
about
was answering
what
the
you feel.
question. You interrupted her, so I 100% agree with her.
They were having a
She was
discussion.
literally
We were having a
just answering the
discussion. Yeah, we
question,
were having a
and you
discussion.
interrupted her.
It's just a combative nature. That's all. When someone
pretty
says
much
something
proved
like
my
I was asked, when I was asked the question, I gave a response, and the men decided to laugh in the faces of all the women here. When you're asking us a question, when I come on these shows, I don't come to scold or insult anyone for their intelligence or their
100%.
opinion.
Just me.
I sit here.
Just me.
Yeah, because you're dumb.
Just
but
me.
I love you.
Yeah, just me.
But I sit here and I take what everyone says and I try to learn a little bit from everybody. I might be 100% wrong in something. Me sitting here and being willing to talk to you about it and learn from you is a bigger thing than me coming here and saying, I have an opinion, I'm going to say it, I'm going to be right no matter what. And what you did was you started a combative nature of discussion with her.
No, the reason why
and you guys
think
laughed
it's
in my
combative
face.
is because you feel more negative emotions than men. I didn't feel anything negative about it. Do you understand? You're missing it.
No,
I think you're missing that you were rude.
Okay,
You missed
Got-
you missed
because you
right,
know that
but-
it was
but-
negative.
Okay,
That's why it's rude.
so I'm gonna play.
self-aware.
Hold on.
This is why you use
Amy,
guidance.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Back it
here.
down
Okay, so what another way of looking at this might be this, right? Women in general will feel a range of emotions that is greater than men's. Okay, in general they will. In general, okay, I'm not saying every time. I definitely know some fucking E5s that don't do that. But on the negative side, what he's talking about with the neurosis, some women will be triggered. Okay, for sure. But some women will be triggered to where they're a broken egg. All of a sudden, everything will cause them to react far more negatively.
Mm-hmm.
If I acted negatively to everyone who insulted me, I'd be in prison because I'd be getting in fights all the time. There's certain times when I was like, hey, this guy's talking shit, but I make more money than him, and he's just jealous of my girlfriend. I need to not respond. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so what he's saying is those negative emotions can be so much deeper for women sometimes that they react to them more so. And I got to say, in general, I agree. In general, I agree that that's what I see most of the time. Also, he wasn't talking about you specifically. You're a lieutenant in the fucking army who went through jump school. You're very different when it comes to women. You're at the 3 standard deviations outside the norm. And so for you, your experience might be different. Does that make sense?
Oh, no, absolutely. But that's why when I hear generalized terms, I say, well, hold on a second. So
Well, so here's the thing.
speak too generalized.
This is a show broadly about sociology. Right, broadly, we're talking about society dealing with itself. In order to do that, you have to use generalizations. Does that make sense? So that in doing so, it's going to make people upset. Do you want to show the clip here?
let's do it. Now, here's the reason why I asked you all of this.
Yeah.
Do we need men?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
No?
We don't need short men.
Do you need a man?
No.
Need a man?
Oh, God.
Do you need a man?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
Why?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
No? Do we need men?
We need men to make us stupid.
Do we need men? Do we need men? Do women need men in this world? Do we need men?
No.
Why?
Because we can be strong, independent women.
Do we need men?
Not necessarily, but if I can look at them, we need a man to look at.
Do we need men?
No!
No, why?
Nobody needs men!
Really?
We do not need men!
Why not? Why don't we need men?
Why would I need men?
So what can you get from someone else that you don't get from a man?
The only thing I can get from a man that I can't get anywhere else is dick.
Okay.
And I don't need dick.
Do we need women?
Yes.
We do. Why?
These women are awesome.
Do we need women?
Of course.
Why?
They're beautiful.
Do we need women?
Women make us feel compassionate and affectionate.
Do we need women?
Of course we do.
Do we need women?
Yes.
Why?
Because they're hot.
That's my Sartain answer
They're
right
hot.
there.
Do we need women?
for threesomes.
I mean, shit, unless you're gay.
We need women.
Do we need women?
Yeah.
Yes, who's gonna do my dishes?
All right.
Okay.
So
There
now
you go.
we already did that. We did the Q&A here, but the question is, why were so many women so prevalent to do that? So there's a woman named Lori Gottlieb. She just wrote a book recently. And in the book, she surveys a bunch of men and a bunch of women. She asked a group of men, you're like, if you got 80% of what you wanted in a partner, would you be happy? And the men overwhelmingly said
This
yes, they
again?
would be very happy. And they asked women, they said, if you got 80% of what you wanted in a partner, would you happy? And overwhelmingly, the women said, no, that's settling. So there seems to be like some differentiation where it seemed to me like these men appreciated women, but not the other way around. Why do you think all these women felt that way, that they didn't need men?
We talked about this in the last episode. Men have created an unsafe place for women, and women have begged men to act right for so long.
You think it's unsafe? I think it's like 50 years ago was incredibly unsafe. The World War I was way more unsafe than this. I think men have created a very
That's
safe.
why there's a problem in this world. It is more and more unsafe, not less and less unsafe. The only thing is that it's more unsafe now in a more sneaky way than it was before, but it is a common experience for almost every woman to feel unsafe when walking out of her house.
Okay, I see what you're saying. But
And-
you don't think women felt unsafe walking out of their house previously in
I don't
previous
think
generations?
it was as bad as it is right now.
I think people were getting away with stuff a lot back then too. You don't
what
think
do you
so?
say men built the house for women to feel safe in?
Huh?
Men
built the house?
The house for women to feel safe in.
Okay.
Some
Yeah, so-
some men, because I would love a man like
I mean,
that.
even
That's
if
for
you
sure.
go from the beginning of time,
That's
men
not
built
even
everything.
relevant.
Of course,
He's
why-
asking
why-
about
how
women
isn't it
feeling
relevant?
safe. He's not asking who builds the house.
Yeah, but
Focus.
but how is she
That
going
does
to?
not
But how is she going to feel safe? Like again, like
I understand the home that he built for her.
Things. Those
I
are two
understand.
different things.
I think he's saying it like in a non-literal term. You build the house and you make the woman feel safe and you have a home with her. I understand that aspect. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm speaking just in general.
You're talking about like a contractor that went and built something.
No, just
Well,
in general, men built everything. You said that you don't think that your women are safe, right? Well,
No, I'm telling you what we think.
Well, what
This
you
is
think
not something
is not
that
reality.
men. Here's the thing. This is not something men can comment on at all. This is not what's your opinion at all. You don't get a say in this. Women don't feel safe. Period.
Do you think that feelings supersedes reality?
No.
Okay, so
I
what
think
you said
proof.
was very nonsensical. It doesn't
No,
make any
I
sense.
think there's proof.
That doesn't make any sense.
I think there's proof.
What
actual
proof do you have? I got
Plenty
more
of
proof than you.
Articles, news, anything that you see where.
Jesse, women aren't less safe. We have the lowest crime rate in probably maybe forever. We actually are. You should read. There's a book about this called Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker, and he goes over how by every single metric, poverty is lower and we have less crime. And how about child mortality? How about mortality during birth?
Wait, I'm actually going to take your side, Jesse.
Yeah.
I know this sounds crazy.
I'm
here.
waiting for the sarcastic
No,
comment right after.
no sarcastic comment. You said you don't feel safe.
That was exactly my point.
You don't. Do you think that women are unsafe, or do you think that they just feel unsafe for a lot of different, various reasons? Is it a feeling, or is it something that you can say, you know what, we're less safe today than we were before, or is it a general kind of like you just said? I'm speaking for women, on behalf of women, right? Mm-hmm. We feel unsafe. Mm-hmm. I would agree with you on that. And I'll tell you why. Because women are the vulnerable sex.
Right.
They are the ones that men have to protect, provide, and provision for since we were running around in the sub-Saharan African savannas as hunter-gatherers. Okay, so when women say I feel unsafe, it's generally because they're the ones that are charged with having children, being the incubators of the next generation. So of course you're going to feel unsafe, because when you are pregnant with a child for 9 months at a pop, and then have another one and another one after that, then yes, you're the vulnerable sex and rely on men to help have them make you feel safe in a very chaotic world that, death is right around the corner, right? So the feeling, I understand. The logic behind that, are you actually safe, are you not, that can be debated. But the feeling of it, I think a lot of women do actually agree with you. They would say, I don't feel safe because of, any number of reasons. Whether that's logical or there's actually something behind that, I think it's something that's sort of hardwired into women's psyches, because they're the ones that have to bear the children, and they're in a very vulnerable position.
And that also proves my point why women need guidance, which I had a problem with in the beginning of the podcast when you first started. So think about it. If you don't naturally, you're saying that we don't feel safe. Well, you just said that feelings doesn't supersede reality, right? So that means that reality is real, but your feelings aren't necessarily real. They can be real, but they aren't necessarily, meaning that you can have a feeling that actually equals to the reality. But what I'm saying is this is why women need guidance, because they can feel whatever, and they need a masculine man that's going to guide them in the right direction.
I have to agree with you to a point here, because I like what you're saying in terms of, and I think a lot of women would also agree with me, that if there was quality men that actually were true leaders, where they had their shit together, where they were building the home that you're speaking metaphorically and physically for their partner, etc., we would definitely feel, to your point earlier, more comfortable in our feminine energy, and to be kind of that, supportive figure to our men to, set them up to be the leader. But
so
the
if
problem
they did
is,
the shit that you want, then they'll lead. Then they can lead.
no, not the shit that you want, but to
Well,
create.
then what is the things that you're
Well,
talking
if you let me
about?
finish, sir, what I'm referring to is, like, you have a very, very valid point in terms of, like, needing a male to be kind of the safe place, the protector, the provider, the partner, the defender, all of these things. But the problem is, in today's society, those types of men are dwindling.
Yeah. So back to my question that I asked you that you didn't answer.
You didn't ask me a question, actually. You just interrupted me while I was speaking. But go
I
ahead.
did ask you a question. I'll ask it again. Here was the question that I asked. I said, what would that stuff be other than material stuff?
Okay, that's the first time you've asked me that question. First of all, I didn't say anything about material stuff.
No. I said something about material stuff because it's my question to you.
You didn't ask me a question. Sorry, but
I did ask you a question.
What's your question?
I'll ask you again.
Okay.
Other than material shit, what are these qualities that you think are going to make you feel safe?
Okay, well,
Probably
first
a
of all,
lot of things that you
I think
don't
you're making a
have.
lot of assumptions about me, which you don't know me. So in terms of,
I'm responding to what you just said.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about material.
No, but I think you did. That's the whole
No,
point.
she
I literally
talked
said nothing about
providing
material
a home, like, emotionally. She didn't say anything about jewelry or whatever you think that she thinks.
Yes, but what?
I'll tell you the non-physical things I named, because I named several. I said nothing physical, by the way. I think I made one reference to a home, and I said a metaphorical home.
So just chill out.
I'm talking about
and
being a
listen,
partner.
Listen to what I'm asking you. Okay, listen to what I'm actually asking you. You say, if we have hypermasculine men who are doing X, Y, and Z, then we'll let them lead. Okay. Other than material, what do you mean by this?
Okay, so you just phrased it better and less attacking. So what I mean by that is somebody who you can rely on, that's communicative, that is, when I say rely on, I mean, like, if you want to talk to them, they pick up the phone. They're not ghosting for 3 days. So they're a reliable partner. They're a partner in terms of, like, if you both have jobs, you're both bringing income to the table. You're both bringing food to the table. You're creating a trustworthy relationship. You're loyal to one another. You have respect for one another, appreciation, gratitude. There's all these incredible things that are essential for a successful relationship. I'm just talking about being a good friend, a good partner, a reliable, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. That's all I'm talking about.
So what puts you in the position where you think he should lead is just these qualities that you're talking about of friendship and this type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I could give you so many examples where I, was in relationships where I really wanted that from somebody else, where they were creating an environment that was secure and safe, and I could rely on them and trust them. But that didn't happen. Like, maybe they weren't working, they were living with their mom. They weren't showing me that they were able to be, kind of a torchbearer. That was me doing that, So that's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for material anything. I'm just asking for a loyal, trustworthy, reliable partner.
Oh, I mean, if they're living with their mom, they're not working, those would be material conditions, right?
I guess in some respect, but then also not material too, in terms of just, like, you out of a partner, I want someone who has goals, ambition, drive.
Which
there's all these
leads to
other things.
material.
Right. These are material conditions.
I feel like you guys are, like, kind of overwhelmed with the feminine energy, so you guys are just automatically attacking.
I do this for. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's what it is. I think they're thriving in the chaos. I'm not sure if that's what's going on.
Talking.
In terms of, like, the physical things that you guys are talking about, I just want to make a really clear distinction, just so no one's confused. In terms of, like, material things, I don't need stuff. I'm not a stuff girl. I don't have purses. I'm not a stuff girl. Just to clarify, I mean, I'm a girl that will eat an MRE in your backyard in a camping, a tent, and I'm just as happy. So I want to clarify. Material things for me are very different. Material things for me are, security, making sure that I'm okay, making sure, like, if I'm sick for a few weeks, I can take a couple weeks off work and my partner's got me. You know what I mean? Like, just being I guess in some respects that's a little bit materialism, sure, but
It's all
not
materialism.
not in the way that you're
To tie
thinking.
this in so that you understand, when we're talking about materialism, Rollo brings up this point. He says, women want this security because they're the more vulnerable sex, okay? So to the point of safety, it's really women haven't made it in the shade safety-wise, right? So he's probably right that this is a mental block. I mean, women used to get attacked by literal wolves, right? Like that actually happened. Their dresses would catch on fire in the 1700s and they would burn to death. Not a joke, right? Those were real safety concerns. Those don't really exist anymore. So when I'm asking this question, I'm talking about the mentality of, is this mental thing which is going on for I'm unsafe? Does this have to do with material conditions? Or is this some other form of conditions which is causing this mental state of I feel unsafe?
I feel like women feel unsafe today because everything that you see on the news is some crazy individual attacking a woman.
What do you
Am I
mean?
not
What do you mean
wrong?
specifically? What, like, could you be specific? Attacking a woman? What do you mean?
I mean, like, not necessarily attacking a woman, but like you can hear all of these news stories about, individuals crossing the border, in the cartel and raping women.
I've had my house
Are you not
broken
hearing
into
these things
twice
daily?
in the
Yeah,
last.
that happens a lot. Human trafficking.
I've had my house broken into twice. I live in LA in the last year.
Yeah, so
You
I think
know?
I think the more women pay attention to the news and the things that are going on in the world, I feel like that can create a fear in itself. It doesn't mean that it's actually happening
Well, you're
in
bringing
their
up a good
local
point.
area.
So
it's environment, material conditions.
80% of the victims of violent crime are men. They're not women.
Against each other?
Yes. Yeah. Well, for the most part, there is some. I forgot. Dr. Buss had one. It was something like 88% of murders are men killing other men over women, or something like that. And it was like 6% were women killing other women, or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, while you may feel unsafe, the brunt of that unsafeness is actually men having to deal with that. We're the ones who have to get the shotgun and go downstairs when there's a noise in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not saying I particularly
Yeah.
feel unsafe. I can understand why other women
For
feel
sure.
unsafe
For sure.
because I don't personally like to live in fear.
Yeah.
There might be a statistic where like there's a certain amount of women that get raped every day, whatever. I'm not going to pay attention to that because I feel like the more that you fear something, the more that you draw those kind of circumstances into your life. So I just choose not to live that way.
Nice. Okay.
Law
Good.
of attraction.
Everybody's got to say, Allie, did you have something to say? You have some crossfire you want to throw at me?
I think
just say
being
that I
scared-
interrupted you and
I
just
feel
cuss at
like
me.
Everybody going outside of their door these days should have a little bit of fear behind them.
Yeah?
Male and female. I get like Miranda said, I can understand why a lot of women feel safe. A big thing to me is like who you surround yourself with. So I have a lot of people who in my life that I feel like can protect me or would have my back. A lot of these being males that I can count on or that I would call for specific reasons for things that I need that I'm not or I can't handle myself. So just like the basic question of needing men, and I don't know, if you want to feel safer, maybe you should have like a band of men behind you who are going to have your back.
Why do you think it is that all those women in that video said, I don't need a man?
Half of them were drunk, first of all.
Well, okay,
and they're younger women. They all look under 24.
I'm glad you point that out
Dudes
because
were too.
when they're drinking, it's truth serum, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
But
that's
they
where
all said it
certain
laughing
women's
and joking.
inhibitions.
That's right.
They
And-
all
and
were
wine
saying
there
it
is truth.
laughing. Every single one of them said it with laugh and smile and joking around. I think if you actually sat them down and individually asked them in a serious setting, they would more than half of them change their answer.
Wait,
I
at
think
this
it goes
table,
back to like a juvenile thing as well, to where it's just like, ew, boys. And then the guy's like, oh, they're so hot. And so
Exactly.
in that initial reaction of like playfulness, like, oh, ew, I don't need him. I think a lot of us initially have that.
It's also
The
the,
other
same
thing-
reason why the podcast bring on nothing but a bunch of 22-year-old girls and ask them questions that they know they haven't had
Right,
life
lack
experience.
experience.
Exactly. They want to clown and they want to be like little kids, like, oh, you farted. They want to make fun of women. They literally want to make fun of
Who do you
women.
think? Who do you think is deliberately going after 22-year-old girls?
Hold on.
Okay.
We'll get to you in a second. But like, they will make fun of women who are, tell that girl to shut up. She's 32 years old. Okay. So you rather have a 19-year-old girl, 22-year-old girl sitting here who can't answer the questions properly because she doesn't have the life experience. It's a lack of maturity. It's the incels that just want to troll. They want to make fun of people for getting older as if they're not going to get older, as if their mother doesn't get older, and they all just want to laugh at stuff. But if you actually sat one of these drunk girls down or asked them in a setting that wasn't leaving the club, where they probably just had their ass slapped 20 times and guys trying to grope them and their friends that are just trying to dance and have a good time, they probably would have a different answer.
Didn't some
That's
of you
a
here
lot
say
of
that
situational.
y'all don't need a man? Did anyone here say that?
Well, I was just going to say that. I think most of the girls here at this table said that they did, right?
Yeah, most of them did.
I think
So none of y'all drunk. So what?
Well, no, they said they.
We
they
said
did.
we do.
We do need a man. So here's the difference.
Everyone said that though.
Almost every single person here said they.
Okay, but
Yeah,
I'm
which
saying
As compared to all the women in the video who were drunk who said they didn't.
True enough, yeah.
So here's the thing: proximate and ultimate cause of things.
Right.
The ultimate cause. I'm sorry, you all fucking need men. You have no idea the entire
I
infrastructure.
think all of us said that we
for
did.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just making a declaration for anybody else who's watching. From a proximate cause, you don't, because a woman can get a Glock and make $300K a year and have no association with men, whatever, and not deal with a lot of stuff. I think societally, it's easier to be a woman now than a man because of some of those things that we're talking about. So proximately, maybe a woman doesn't need a man, but ultimately we all need men. You do, because all the freedoms that you have were because men were willing to be incredibly violent on your behalf. Some men who died 200 years before you were born were willing to kill other men in order for you to have that level of freedom. And yeah, there were some women there. Yes, absolutely. There we go. And we have a love connection here.
But I think although
we're going green to blue.
There's a lot of women out there that say they don't need men, and then you look at their lives and it's like, okay, well, you have a male boss, your dad's sending you $200 a month, there's all these men around them helping them, and I think that's one thing women really need to recognize is there's so many amazing men in your life, whether they're related by blood, whether they're your boyfriend or not. There's some man around you that's helping you out in some way, shape, or form.
I think a lot of these women think it's cool to say we don't need men.
Right.
Yeah,
Sometimes
Well, it's a feminism movement.
Okay, so
I feel like it's very trendy right now
Yeah.
to say that, like, hey, I don't need a man. Like,
Yeah.
we live in this world that I don't need a man.
Girl
I
power.
think it's just, yeah.
So sometimes we do the shows and we'll ask the girls to rate themselves. If the first girl says she's a 7, we get a lot of 7s and 6s and 5s and 8s. If the first girl says she's a 10, all of them say
But that's
10s.
the 4-minute mile rule right there.
What do you mean?
The first person to break
the
the
4-minute mile was
yeah.
it was 2,000 years after the mile was created, and the
Exactly.
second person was 43 days later.
Yeah.
No, I understand what you're saying, but like that's the thing. What I found is that whenever I think a lot of these women saw other women being like, "Fuck no, I don't need men," and it just like it starts to snowball. Whereas the men, you guys see that maybe men are like willing to put up with more and then like still appreciate it. Is that possible? Do you guys see that in
I
general?
think men put up with a lot from women.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Go with that,
I
Lieutenant.
mean, to your point earlier,
Yeah.
I do think, and I know this because I've seen some studies on it, that women are definitely more emotional. I don't like the word neurotic, which is why I got a little defensive earlier, because neurotic is considered a very negative tone, like a negative thing in general. Like women get called crazy, women get called neurotic, right? They get called all of these
But
labels.
you even saying that proves the point that neurotic fits you.
I just don't. I think your scientific explanation of it earlier, that makes it go down a little bit smoother, because when you just label someone something, it's like, well, we've known each other for
But
literally
yeah, the
5
fact
minutes.
that you're upset with a label, you're proving
No,
my point.
I'm trying to make it clear that there's so many assumptions out there about women. Like women just get like tossed off. Like if you look in the comments even right now, we get called 304s, we get called crazy. Like our opinions are never taken
Here's another
seriously.
word: catastrophizing. Women tend to catastrophize more than men. That means
I
that
agree
they
with that.
they go to the
dramatic
extremes.
effect.
Very
Dramatic effect. Yeah.
That plays a part in it, too.
Yeah. Dramatic effect. I agree
Is that a
with
better
you on
word
that.
for you?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Worst case
That one
scenario.
goes down a little
We
smoother.
can, listen, we're going to get a thesaurus out here when we go eat sushi after this. And we're gonna,
I think
I'm
it's
into
the
that.
delivery, and I said this to you
Thank
outside.
you.
It's the delivery, because you
Delivery,
can't drop a bomb on someone in a kind of condescending, rude, or disrespectful manner, and then be, oh, you're being neurotic. Oh, look at you being defensive. Look at you being an emotional girl.
I've definitely
I didn't say that you
I
did.
didn't point.
Hold on,
I didn't do any of that.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
I mean,
saying
what
that
if
you
he-
did.
what if he
I'm saying
did?
there is
Like,
a delivery and
wouldn't-
a way
wouldn't
to
that
do
again
things.
make his point?
And that's why you
I
see a
think
different
that-
reaction from different
Remember,
people.
who said that? Well, what's going on here? Do you guys can't handle the feminine energy? I think it's the reverse. I think you can't handle the masculine
I didn't say
energy.
that.
Who,
Well, if
one
we
of you said
couldn't
that.
handle the masculine energy, why would we surround ourselves with men like Michael and Rollo? They are so masculine.
I think that's also a very narcissistic comment to say. You can't just
Narcissistic
throw out a bullet and be like, "Oh, you got hurt. Oh, why are you so like it doesn't make any sense.
What
It
does
doesn't make
narcissism
any
mean?
sense. Like you can't just shoot a girl and be like, "Oh my god, I'm in pain." It's like, well, calm down. Like it's complete
Can you explain
gaslighting. It's
what
narcissism.
narcissism
It's
means?
everything that. I mean, you know about this. You spoke about this on
I
this
use
episode.
terms. I use terms and I define them. Can you define it?
I just did. Don't put me on the spot and tell me to do something.
Wait, if you're
Ready? 3 countries. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Name
3 countries.
Name
3 books in the Old Testament. 1, 2, 3. Go. Let's do it.
I think women pick up on energy and the tone behind the words that you say a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why she had the reaction that she had, because
For sure.
it came from a very
So let's
because you speak different languages.
Okay, let's try this. Let's try this.
Languages.
Let's go back 200,000 years ago. Actually, let's go back 20,000 years ago. Let's go back. We were living in hunter-gatherer tribes in different places. There we go. You know how the time machine drop? Let's say we live back in that time period. During that time period, let's say that there were very clear gender roles. That's one of the reasons why evolutionary psychology is like so derided, is because people on the left don't like the idea of gender roles. In this concept, let's say, what were men being rewarded for? Men were rewarded for being better hunters, they construct fortification. They're the ones who protected them from other tribes. So men having assertive, testosterone-based attributes were things that they were rewarded for. And what were they rewarded with? What were they rewarded with? Was it money? What were you rewarded
Women
with?
and
You were rewarded with vagina. That's what they were rewarded with.
Sheep and goats.
And you guys can look up Sexy Sun's hypothesis if you want to learn about this. For women, what would they be rewarded for? Who has more to lose when you have random casual sex? A man or a woman? The woman does. If you go down to the Pleistocene epoch,
that's nasty.
If a woman has sex with the wrong man, she dies. She's ostracized from the tribe, and there's no welfare for her. She's just dead. So for her, she has to lose more. So which of the two genders in that case would be more sensitive to other people's reactions?
100%. I mean,
so what I'm saying is it's an evolutionary adaptation for why women are more sensitive. He's not wrong. That's the reason. But the reason why,
we're
for
on
sure,
the same page.
for sure.
now.
But that is the reason why. If you have one gender whose job it is, like again, if you were to say women's number one job was to protect my son, my wife, her number one job is to protect my son, to the point where if I died, she's going to choose between me and my son. She chooses the son. I'm okay with that. If that's women's one superpowers, I'm going to protect the fuck out of my children. That's great. That's awesome. But it comes with some side effects. And some of those side effects are like when you say your son's a genius when he's not a fucking genius, and you do anything you can to get him into a certain preschool or that kind of stuff, or like the parents who are like on the football team are like, why isn't my son playing more? There's delusions that happen that go along with that. But these illusions are adaptations that we needed in order for the species to survive. Does that make sense? Okay, does everybody understand? It's not insulting you. It's just that's the way things, those are the proclivities that aided in our survival.
It feels good that I don't have to break it down like that on my podcast. I got to literally do the same things that y'all doing, but I could just chill today and just give them that ism. So beautiful. Okay, do you want to go with another one?
Before I do, I have to correct Jesse one more time.
Oh, good Lord, why me?
Sorry, because you said that Fresh and Fit just get dumb hoes on their show.
I said they get a bunch
every
of
every time this happens.
Were you talking about Fresh and Fit, or were you talking about the video?
Basic.
Both.
Fresh and Fit does not usually
said,
get
The words Fresh and Fit never came out of my mouth. So that's why the podcast
who else?
here.
Okay, so for Fresh and Fit, anyways, they've had last count, anyways. Thank you, Big Mo. 2,132 female guests. Ages range from 18 to 46. From 45 different U.S. states, 61 different countries, with 181 different job titles, including unemployment and 159 Frank Castles.
Frank Castles. There we go.
I also did two panels
Thank you, Big Mo, for your
40.
contributions.
I did 2 panels with all women over 40. I pretty much did
You
the same
guys realize
thing.
I wasn't like trying to say you did this or you did that.
We
I said
understand.
most of the podcasts that are floating on the internet.
Well, Jesse, I'll tell you this. Like, so there's two issues here. Number one, I don't think it's hard enough to get 10 girls to come on a show. Period. So I don't like to be the idea that I only want young. And I know you're not talking about me, but the only idea that I want young or dumb is not true. The thing is, when I come on here, I try to get the 3 M's. I try to get mothers, master's degrees, and I try to get married. And when I do so, the answers are exactly the same from the 22-year-old girls with an OnlyFans. It's exactly the same answers. This is my point. It's like, I don't think they're selecting for dumb young girls. I think they're just getting what they're getting. Now, on whatever podcast, I will grant you there's a lot of girls who go in anime costumes who are just there to get fucking attention. I agree with that. Not so much on Fresh and Fit. Fresh and Fit will have surgical nurses and fucking master's degrees on there all the time.
Yeah,
and
but you guys are studying different topics. You guys are specifically focused on like red pill, blue pill content. And then you bring on women that have never researched these topics. They're not reading the content you're reading. And then you guys make examples of them for views. That's 100% what happens.
I've had a little bit of this anger with him sometimes because I will religiously ask him before the podcast, what are we talking today about?
I'm sorry, I should have sent you the videos.
I do not like walking into a situation where I sound or feel stupid because I can't contribute because I didn't know that this thing happened or whatever it is that they're discussing. And he's like, don't worry, just come on. And I am like, no. Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
like we're not sitting here with laptops.
And
that are
that's
studies
the problem,
and
that they have a
figures
lot of
and facts.
unaware, uneducated on the topic at hand. Girls come on.
Oh, I agree with that.
And they look dumb.
Yeah.
And they look uneducated. And they're
Yeah.
young. And like it just, you pile on a lot of components where women are being stacked up against.
Right.
And that is what keeps circulating through social
But
media.
isn't there some
it's
level-
not the clips of the very smart woman
Right.
having an intellectual conversation with the
Where
men.
are those?
It's always there's always the clips of the 22-year-old girl. I have had sex with 70 guys this week, and that's what men think of women, and that's what's going around, and that's why everyone is talking shit and saying 304s, whatever.
Why do they get infantile? Why is it you treat them like babies? Like if you know you're going on a podcast, wouldn't you do research?
On what?
Wait, what
Yeah, so
let
you
me
can go
just
back to the
research
whole
everything in the
back
world
catalog.
in case I know for sure what they're going to
It
discuss.
doesn't need to be you have to research everything in the world, but you
that
can get a
sounds so
general
dumb.
idea for a podcast
I didn't even know
by
who else was
watching the
coming on the show
backlog.
until.
Let me try this.
Why
Hold
is
on.
that necessary?
Hold on,
You can still
hold on.
go through
David,
the
if you
backlog of the content.
if Joe Rogan
they usually talk about.
if Joe Rogan was going to have you on his show, would
Yeah.
you do some research before?
For sure.
How much would you do?
A lot.
I would do at least 22 hours of research.
I'll do a week.
Yeah, a week.
Okay.
I would be.
And then you
I would
walk
be-
on there, and what he talks about has nothing to do
But
with
that's not.
anything that you
but Joe Rogan
researched.
lets you do whatever
So
you
then
want.
what?
Yeah.
I would be so rock solid when I did whatever podcast. If I ever have to do a debate against Andrew, you better fucking believe. With Destiny,
yeah.
that was 30 hours of research I did before I went up with Destiny.
But you know,
I am never taking a fucking L on with a million people watching me. That is not going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like sometimes
Yeah, it
we,
is.
huh?
Yeah, it
okay.
is.
All right, here we go. Yeah, Andrew's coming for me.
Well, no, it's
Andrew's
just,
coming for
but
me.
see, a lot of times it's designed, and I can sort of understand what Jesse's saying here is because I have gone on to podcasts where I have debated, like people like Ruslan, for example. It's like there was no topics ever thrown at me for that, and they're saying, well, you should know this and you should know that. I'm like, well, if I'm on trial. If it's not a debate anymore and it's just like an indictment or just sort of, a witch hunt, well, of course I'll defend myself as best as I can. But it's like you can study somebody up to a point, but if they're going to say, okay, well, we're not going to talk about anything I've talked about in the past, and we're going to talk about, I don't know, nuclear
brand new stuff.
proliferation or some
Exactly.
shit like that, I'm like, okay, well, I'm at a disadvantage here.
But those are the exceptions to the rule.
True,
right?
true,
I mean,
true.
usually that's not the case.
Well,
I
no,
understand you can walk into ambushes, things like that.
Right.
It happens.
Lord knows I have.
Yeah.
Same.
Everybody.
But I
has
will
who's
say
a
this: when I
podcaster.
went on Dr. Phil, I did about 60 hours worth of my homework on that because I knew what I would be walking into on something like that. But if it's something that's a little more casual, where people are saying, "Hey, why don't you come on my show?" and we're going to talk about this, I don't think. I can understand how some podcast it might be that way, like maybe whatever, where it's like The Price is Right and everybody's got a costume on and they're all supposed to look at like, I don't know, idiots or whatever. And I understand that, but that's the thing is that if you know that podcast, you know what you're getting into already. You know that we're all going to wear.
Well, but how do you know what you're getting?
We're going to
into?
look like the Red Bear and
Go study.
Wait, how do you know what you're getting into?
Well, because you have to go and you have to do
because
the
you
background
went,
on
you
it.
did the
Yeah.
research and you figured it right.
Is it worthwhile to do
Right.
that? And I was going to say, Jesse, I think that was one of the reasons why we started the show in the first place is because we're not trying to put women on the spot.
Which is what
We're
I said
trying
to you last time. I come
exactly.
on the show with you
Yeah.
guys, not because I'm just his friend for so long, but because you could have a completely different of opinion or perspective, and you guys are not about to make the girls sitting in here feel stupid. We can disagree or agree to disagree or agree or whatever, but you guys don't make us feel bad for it. However, proof in the pudding, as soon as I opened my mouth, the very first question asked, the two of them died laughing. And they thought it was really funny before I could even get my sentence out. There's just a different way to manage how you come across to people and how you treat them. And for me, that's the only reason why I come on here with you
Got
guys.
it. So here's another thing. Like
He didn't laugh. It was just me.
Yeah, it was just
didn't laugh at all.
He's
my
not.
apologies.
He's not throwing him under the bus. I have a coaching program, so I have to be a little bit more political. These
Oh, so
guys,
you would be mean to
these
me
guys, these guys are
otherwise.
incredible,
Much
incredible
more.
content
Totally.
creators that don't have to. They don't have to do that. They can sit there and say exactly what they feel. They're not really concerned about sparing anyone else's
One of the
feelings.
things that you're saying is something that I think is a common complaint that women just simply don't get. I was just saying a moment ago that men and women tend to speak past each other. We just saw a video right now where women are like, yeah, men ain't shit. Fuck, we don't need no men. And then you have all these men saying, yeah, we love women. We want to get with women. We need women. Women are hot, whatever it is, right? You see, what happens is you can sugarcoat things and you can put things into, you can tone police yourself But eventually it becomes, it's not about the tone, it's about what you're imparting. It's about the content of the communication. It's about the information being related, as opposed to saying, I mean, you can sugarcoat it and make it as nice as possible, but it's still going to punch you in the face, because if it's something that you disagree with that is factually true, then it's still going to have the same effect.
But I think if you, like, for example, you probably have some incredible knowledge that I would find really interesting and useful and probably change my mind on some things. But I think the way you come across is so, like, off-putting, where it's like, I'm immediately defensive. I'm like, why are you being like that? You know,
I
like,
can tell you why.
Well, hold on. Let me finish. What I was going to say is, like, I would love to have a conversation with you and listen to what you have to say. But just, it would be nice if you would at least try to do it from a place of education and, you know, sharing ideas instead of, like, slam dunking.
But that's what I've been doing.
That's not how it's being received.
I don't feel that way.
No, that's not how it's being received.
Yeah, I don't feel that way.
I could tell you why. I could
That's what you're saying. I don't feel that way.
No, I think everybody here at the table, I don't know, except for you, I'm not speaking for you.
They don't feel that way.
I promise you that you are definitely coming across as rude and condescending.
Andrew, can I ask you a question?
Wait, before you get to that, so I could tell you why. The reason why I feel this way, because we ain't trying to smash. I mean, I can speak for myself. This is my first time in Vegas, and I ain't trying to hit nothing.
Listen, I've been in the military for a long time. Worked with mostly men.
That makes you like
I worked with mostly men.
No.
Listen, I've worked with mostly men.
Guys, let's go one at a time. Let's go David and then Amy.
So yeah, the reason why you feel like, oh, you guys are being rude and stuff like that, because there's not anything, a molecule in my veins, in my bones that wants to smash you. But the type of guys you're used to is blue pill guys that'll say anything to you and pander to you when they see you. Oh, you're gorgeous. You got this and this, the blonde hair, da-da-da-da-da. They're going to pander to you. So you're used to guys acquiescing their behaviors to get inside your drawers.
Amy,
I'm not acquiescing.
Do any guys ever do that? You don't think guys ever gaslight women?
Oh, of course. But here's the thing. I was in the military.
Guys.
Let me just tell you. I was in the military for 16 years. Okay. I got treated like absolute shit most of my career. Okay. And I promise you, there were so many men that were incredible instructors that had no intent of doing anything more with me than being an instructor. That's it. You want to talk about leading? Then lead by example and give information to women that you're trying to educate or whatever, but do it in an instructional fashion where you're not being off-putting. Do you want to have a war with women? Do you want to be disrespectful to women? Do you want us to not like you? Like, I don't know what your intent is when you're coming across.
That's what I said in the beginning of the podcast.
Guidance comes from a good, kind place.
Let me ask you one question.
Hold on. Guidance comes from a good, kind place. And when it's done in a demeaning fashion where it's down, like talking down and being disrespectful and rude, there's never going to be a point where we're meeting in the middle and like I'm even open to receiving the information because it's disrespectful. It's off-putting.
Did you have a father in your life?
Absolutely. I have a great relationship with my dad.
That was a really fucked up question.
You can ask it. It's a demographic question.
Wow. Why would that be bad?
But it's a demographic question. You could ask. My dad died when I was in 2006. It's a demographic question.
I have a great relationship.
But here's the thing. No, I know where you're coming from. But the thing is, you think that he's accusing her of being this way because she didn't have a dad. But that's the point. You should be able to ask the question first.
But just the fact that you're even saying those words out loud, you're making an assumption.
No. It isn't.
Any assumption.
So this is.
Imagine if she said to you, like, what do you have a mother? What do you have a sister? Are you married?
But he didn't do his neck like that. Like that's the thing. You're putting emotion in a dispassionate question that he had right there. You can ask the question.
Okay, so
right?
she said to him, "Oh, are you married? Do you have a mother?"
Yeah, but that's not. How is that offensive? And
I wasn't offended by the question.
If someone asks me if I'm married. No, of course not.
You don't find that offensive?
If someone asks me if I have a mother, why would I care?
Well, considering the topic of conversation and where we are, I think that's really offensive.
I just think he was segueing into the next part of his thing, but I understand where
I choose to not be offended. There's a great book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. I choose to not give a fuck if somebody says something and then later on judge them based on the content of their character. Like initially when I'm sitting there talking to somebody, they may say, man, I thought that dude might have been insulting, but I'm just going to chill and like hang out for a while. And then next thing I know, me and Andrew are friends. You see how it works? You just kind of chill out and listen. And then you find out that nobody here has any like animosity. I promise you these two guys aren't going to take anything you say personally. Yeah, nothing.
And then let me explain why I asked
the reason this happened, just so you know, is because you're engaged in a meta conversation. You're having a conversation about the conversation. I don't care about the conversation about the conversation. I care about the conversation. So don't care if it sounds bad or it sounds mean or it sounds rude or there's nothing I'm saying which is untoward. I'm just looking at the conversation itself.
But I disagree with that because you're doing it while also like mimicking
You're
the girl.
still having a meta conversation.
Nope. You're disrespectful to the girls when you're making fun of their voices.
That's still a meta conversation.
No, I'm sorry, but it's nothing to do with the topic. You are.
What is the
You
topic?
are moving away from the topic.
What is the topic?
Well, right now,
it's the meta conversation is the topic. And I'm not interested in the meta conversation. I'm interested in the topic.
I'm going to be interested about nothing you have to say while you're being disrespectful.
There's nothing disrespectful to meta conversation.
Your question to me was, did I have a great relationship with my dad? I did. I have an amazing relationship with my father. He lives in England. I go see him all the time. I grew up with him. He was an incredible father.
Okay. He lives in England. You go see him all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, you're about to do something?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked that question is because, I do a podcast where I bring on, 6 to 8 girls a night. And what I've observed, I'm not talking about you, but what I've observed with speaking with many women is that they lack the ability to digest a man's love, right? And that man's love first comes from a father. So it may seem rude that the way I'm speaking and the way I'm conveying myself to you. It may seem rude and I'm attacking you, but I'm not attacking you. I got nothing but love for y'all. So that's why I asked that question.
Well, I think you're actually being a lot more respect. Like, I think once we kind of got to a good working rhythm, like we're fine now. Like, I feel like the way you talk is very respectful. Yeah. So I'm good. I'm good with us.
Ava, I have asked that question on several occasions. Like, do you have brothers? Do you have a father?
I don't think demographic questions are like that. But if he had said, "Hey, you're acting like you don't have a father," that would be offensive because then there's additional context.
Totally, but just even asking the question is the thought and the assumption.
You got to be able to ask questions. Now, going back to what Andrew said, he was talking about content and context. Andrew is interested in the content of the discussion. This is data moving across like a fiber optic cable. There's no emotion. You guys are interested in the context of the conversation, and in doing so, we never get anywhere because we're having a conversation about the conversation.
Right, it's a meta conversation.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Miranda, you were going to say something to Andrew?
Yeah. Andrew, do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
Yes.
What's your relationship with your mom like?
I'll be respectful and not ask it. I'll not.
You want to ask me?
Well, I was going to ask when his last relationship was and how that ended.
He's married, right?
He's married. No, he's got one. Yeah, he's got a good one at home.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Takes care of him.
That's why I was wondering because it
brings him coffee and
felt
cigarettes.
like I just don't understand like where
I'm an incel. Right?
That wasn't an assumption.
I hate my mama.
No, what I was feeling from the way that you are speaking is that there's some kind of like hatred towards women. That's where it feels like there's a lot of angst behind the words that you're saying, and that's simply why I wanted to ask the question. I was thinking in my head that it was possible.
So let me respond.
That you had
just
a
so you know.
bad interaction.
From my perspective, okay, I do aggressive, high-level online debates with some of the most brutal personalities you can imagine, and I beat them. The thing is like
particularly from South America.
All I'm looking at here. That's not disrespectful. Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't do that. I didn't do that.
That's not disrespectful.
I wouldn't do that.
Just what I do is disrespectful.
He's really good.
I wouldn't.
You didn't see me do it.
You
didn't see me
do it. So
do
anyway,
it.
what I'm saying is that for me, I'm not looking for this is my meta-analysis. This is what I think about what I think. This is what I think about the conversation that we're having. I'm just interested in actually what the conversation is, so we can just get into it.
I
agree. We can figure out
agree,
what's going on.
But while you're telling me you're not interested in the conversation about the
Don't tell
conversation,
me how you feel right now,
I'm not
please.
telling you how I feel. I'm telling you exactly what you did. You distracted from the topic of the conversation.
By making you
when
feel bad?
Nope. When you degraded the woman that you were
I didn't
speaking to.
degrade anybody. It just
you
made you feel bad because that's how you felt.
No, you made fun of someone.
Who?
All the women at the table, by
When?
the way, several times throughout this
Go
conversation.
ahead and name
Roll
one of the
tape.
insults.
When you were saying, when you were mimicking their voice.
After the one insulted me?
You did it multiple times.
After
not just
they
then.
insulted me?
You did it
So,
multiple times.
After I was insulted.
Okay,
it's
well,
just
then
the tone behind it. It's like earlier, like we're not trying to focus on
You're sensitive. Is that what you're saying?
No,
You're
saying
really sensitive.
why is it if
I
you
never
hit,
said
I
we
hit
could
back,
insult you.
that's on me, not
no,
on you.
I never said we could insult you. I just said I wouldn't do that. Respectfully, I wouldn't do that.
Every time I open my mouth, I can see like people beeps, like his eyes twitch, like he wants to say something.
All right, Jory, give me the screen again, Jory.
Well, actually, I'm going to say the reason why.
Go ahead, Loretta.
The reason
finish.
why I did that in the beginning is because the moment we sat down, he stared down at me for like 20 seconds when he had an issue with the volume of the microphone, and he was disrespectful to me from the jump. You can disagree with me all you want, but
What the hell are you talking about?
Okay, but you're so in your head that you don't even see reality. and how you treat
Loretta,
people at the table.
I don't know why
think it's
he'd be
the opposite.
staring at you for
He was
20
like
seconds.
this.
But why? Like why? Like could it be the fact that he's a Cowboys fan and he's looking at the thing behind
Absolutely
you?
not.
Like
He was
there could be some
staring dead
other
in my
reason.
eyes.
I'm having for 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Okay, I don't know.
The entire time that the guy was under this thing fixing the volume, and he was like, being like, it's too
Sometimes
high,
we're
too low.
just
The entire
staring
time
in
he
a
was like
direction.
this.
Sometimes we're just staring in a direction. You know.
No, it was very maybe.
Back to
maybe
your
it's too-
corners, everybody. Go back to your corners. We got another
It was
video.
very aggressive.
Okay,
Go
let's
for
watch
it.
this.
Here we go.
It was aggressive.
God, why?
That I sat at my chair.
Daddy, my husband cheated on me.
fuck up.
I'm
You
gonna
shut
say,
the fuck up,
Princess,
lady.
is he a good provider? Yes. Does he take good care of you? Yes. You ever disrespect you, raise his hand to you? No. Outside of this cheating, is he what you need in a man? Yes, he is. Was this thing purely sexual? Was it a hit and miss? Or is he really feeling this woman? If she tells me this was a hit and miss, go have a conversation with him about his infidelity. Let him know you do not like it. I will never tell you not to leave a man because he cheated. You want to leave him because he cheated? Go ahead and do it. But I want to ask you a question. How many men you expect to find out there who are never going to go outside that marriage at least occasionally to experience another woman? I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's not realistic to leave a good man for an oops.
Don't even look at me like that.
I was staring at you for 20 seconds.
No, I sent that
I'm
to
so
you.
angry.
It's
So
really
Jesse sent this to me.
because it's true.
This is beautiful. Jesse sent this to me. It's
a good
beautiful.
segue.
Okay, ready? So what question you want to ask here?
No, I was going to say.
Jesse, what do you think? You're the one who sent this to
You're
me.
the one that sent it to us.
I didn't send it to you because I'm in agreement with it.
So you don't agree with it?
It's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, he said if you still want to leave, you can, but he's asking you
He's
to
saying
ask
that
the question.
No, he's saying to his daughter, listen, if your man pays the bills and doesn't disrespect, what do you mean doesn't disrespect me? He cheated on me. Well, if the man's good to you, what do you mean good to me? He cheated on you. Well, if the man's loyal, he wasn't loyal. He cheated on you. He's contradicting himself with every bulletin point that he makes, and then also backhanded telling her, well, if you want to leave him, you can, but it's kind of silly to do that because it was an oops moment. There's so much that goes into cheating, the sneaking, the lying.
Actually, I think
all
there's
that shit.
very little that goes into cheating for men and a whole lot that goes into cheating for women. I think cheating for women
Is that
is
the debate now?
a
Are we
extremely
changing the topic?
sophisticated and complicated thing.
Are we
No,
changing
go
the
ahead.
topic?
Finish your topic. Finish your
But
point.
the point is that I don't agree with what he is saying, and it's almost laughable that this is circulating through the internet and that people are like, yeah, absolutely, men can't help themselves. You need to forgive your husband if he steps out once in a while. What?
Got it. Okay. Miranda, what do you think?
Oh, I was really hoping that this wouldn't come up because I'm very weird in my current relationship. It's open, but
You're in a
not
situationship?
open. No, I'm in a legitimate relationship.
It's open on his end and not on your end?
It's open on both ends, and
Okay.
honestly, I'm probably the one who lets him do more of what he wants to do
Okay.
versus because he's more monogamous, and I am more just like I just don't care what he does as long as he's safe. But he just chooses not to do that. And I know it's a very
But
interesting
I don't know if that's
perspective.
cheating, though, because you know about it.
Well, what do you mean by cheating?
Like he would tell you, I'm not going to have sexual intercourse with other women, and then does so behind your back. That would be cheating. You in an open relationship where the two of you make the decision to go ahead and have sex with someone else. That as long as you both know about it, I don't know that that's cheating.
Yeah, okay, I understand your point there. So I feel like with the cheating, I feel like it's different when there is deceit, there is deception, and there is a bunch of lying. Like, say, the reason why it's an issue is because when there could have been a conversation and there could have been communication, there was obviously a lapse in that. And then there was a moment in time where they felt like they didn't respect you enough to actually have that conversation with you, to share with you, hey, I'm having this urge, I want to do this, or I'm not feeling satisfied sexually by you. Maybe you haven't slept with him in 3 weeks because you're, I don't know, sick or you're going through
If you were
something.
in a monogamous relationship and the guy you were with cheated on you, came to you, told you about it was like a one-time thing, would you leave him?
I would. I don't just cut things off just because.
Okay.
I like to listen, to understand, and I always place myself in that individual's shoes first before I make my decision.
Got it. And remember, that individual probably has 17 times as much testosterone as you.
And that's exactly why I choose to be in a semi-open relationship, because I understand how men are. And I feel like when you allow them to have that space and that ability, and I'm not wagging my finger, you better not cheat on me, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Enlightened, Miranda.
When you're not giving that nasty, negative, nagging energy, it makes them actually respect you more and want to not cheat on you. And they're more likely to communicate with you on their urges and things like that. I know it's an interesting perspective. Go ahead and
I
talk.
actually really want to hear his stance. Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear him actually say the words marriage. Is he talking about marriage?
Yeah, his daughter, hypothetically. His
If I had a daughter and
if I had
came
a
to me.
daughter and she was married, and this is what she came to me with.
Yeah, so no, there's no justification. Well, there can be justification, I guess, internalized justification. From the prism of the Christian worldview, no, you're not allowed to step out on your wife. Now, you can reconcile those things. So it's possible that one of the partners makes a mistake in the marriage. You know, you can get help from the church, things like this, so that you can reconcile the relationship. But I don't think it should be expected inside of a marriage for either partner to step out. I don't think it's okay for a woman, for instance, to withhold sex for her husband and not have the expectation that he might do that. But that aside, no, I don't think at all that it's reasonable inside of a covenant marriage to step out. I mean, that defeats the purpose of the marriage.
Nice. What do you think, Ava?
I actually agree with you, minus all the.
Oh my God! Shut the fuck up!
Wait.
Don't take it personally. Don't take it personally.
Something nice to you. I'm actually saying.
I was take a joke, lady. I'm kidding. Relax.
Okay, that's complete narcissism. Don't do something to her and have her respond and then tell her to stop.
Can you just
That's
let me
complete
answer the
gaslighting.
fucking
Like, you need to
question?
chill.
Go for it.
Calm down. Holy shit.
Okay.
No, that's my
Tough room.
sister. Don't
Tough
touch
room.
Okay, what I
her.
was saying,
we
what
can
I was
see.
saying
That's
before you interrupted me was that I agree with you, minus the religious stuff.
Oh. Well, what's the justification absent religion to not cheat?
Because some people believe in it and some people don't.
No. I'm asking what the justification absent religion would be not
For
to
cheating.
cheat.
For cheating.
For not I'm sorry, what's the justification for not cheating?
For not cheating, absent religion, what would the
the morality that
justification
religion gives you. What's the reason why?
I don't know. It's just the way it's like always been done, I guess. I'm not really sure how to answer that question.
Okay.
My parents been married forever. Like, I come from like a very loving, amazing family. So
So you think it's values that your parents imparted into you? That's why it feels wrong?
yes, absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Where did those values come
Absolutely.
from?
What do you mean?
Where do you think those values came from?
My parents?
Yeah, where do you think those values came from?
Where did they get them?
I think he's
Probably
leading you to
their
your dad.
parents.
I'm leading you to religion.
Right.
Yeah.
The values, the reason that your parents probably
but
held
there's
those.
a lot of people don't talk about religion and politics because it can be a very sensitive subject for people. So you can believe in not cheating on someone and not be Catholic.
No,
We understand that.
We're not even
So-
disagreeing with that. I'm just saying your parents likely believed that it's no good for one to step out on the other because they have these intrinsic values which came up cross-generationally from the core religious tenets that they were surrounded with. That's what their environment was based around. Their parents' environment was based around that. That's what he's saying. He's just saying it kind of crosses the bridge, but they all come back to a moral religious foundation. That's the point.
I just got to
Okay,
say,
cool.
Andrew, now I'm listening because now you're spitting facts and like you're being approachable. I'm listening now. This is
Amazing,
awesome.
yes.
There you go. They all want Andrew now. Go ahead, Allie.
I will say
I
personally.
mean, if you had just been nice, you
just
know?
want to sugar
But you were
him
such a
up.
bitch.
Table,
I'm
Andrew.
joking,
I'm
I'm
taking
sorry.
my nice comment right back.
Go ahead, Allie.
All right. I think that personally, humans are flawed. So
Grab the mic. Come a little closer to it. Just grab it. Bring
this
it to
one?
you. Yeah.
Are we good? Wait.
You
we
can
good?
just grab
Hello?
the base and bring it to you. There you go.
Are we close enough? Is
there
that
you
better?
go. Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. I think humans are all flawed, and a lot of it's situational, and it depends on you and your partner. But personally, I think that I would give my partner grace, and as long as things are communicated and we figure things out, and there's not an established pattern of behavior happening, I think that an oops is not acceptable, but you can work through it.
Okay, Loretta.
I agree with her.
Okay.
And I agree with Eva too.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't leave your dude? Let me ask you something, ladies. Do you think it's more repairable if a man cheats or if a woman cheats? Who thinks it's more repairable if a man cheats? Anybody? Yeah, men, I mean, so what we found is that when men cheat, Dr. Buss did a study, or he referenced a study about 8 out of 10 times when a woman cheats, she falls in love with her affair partner. For men, it's about 2 or 3 out of 10 times. It's much less likely. So I see what you're saying there. And then, what do you think?
Yeah, the basis of that video, because I missed a little bit of the beginning of it. It was basically he was talking about his daughter and her being married, and if the man cheated, he's advising the daughter to still stay with the man. Of course, because if you don't, you increase your body count and you lower your value. So why not? That's what I would say. I also agree with his point as well. If we're talking about in the context of marriage and stuff like that, yeah, it's definitely negative. We're not promoting promiscuity in men or anything, but yeah, women shouldn't leave that relationship because
But how would it not be a promotion?
It is.
If you're saying there's no consequence to this.
Yeah.
There's no consequence. So if you step out, your advice is, hey, stay in the marriage. After all, he's a pretty good guy, right? Or this type of thing. There's no negative consequence for him to do that. Isn't it kind of the promotion of promiscuity at that point?
No, I didn't say that there's no negative consequence for it. So you're saying pretty much that the negative consequence for that would be her leaving, right? I'm saying something. That, well, guess what? I'm saying that a more negative consequence would be for her because she increases her body count, which lowers her value. And not only that, then she has to go back into the dating market and try to find a more valuable man. But in generally speaking, most men are only as faithful as their options, right? So it's like, yeah, like I have a daughter, right? Yeah. So I would tell my daughter the same exact thing, but I would say, well, hey, one, you want to pick a righteous man. So you want to pick a man. It's all about the man that you choose, right? So you want to pick a man with characteristic traits that follow Christ, right? And his morality supersedes his nature, right? Because men will indulge in the nature. That's why the generality is that most men is only as faithful as their options because men tend to seek their nature just like women tends to go with their nature, which is hypergamous. So yeah, in the context of what you're talking about, it's not going to benefit the woman, right? So that's not promoting what the man is doing. It's just saying that if I'm giving my daughter advice, because it was not talking about the man advice, the daughter advice. So my daughter advice, I wouldn't advise her to leave her husband.
If that's true, then what would the consequence to him be?
So you're looking for a consequence for his actions.
Well, it's tough. I mean, if we're honestly,
I have a question. I have an answer for that, actually.
Go ahead.
I mean, the consequence under that is very simple. So you got two types of men. Not even two types. Let's just say a man that follows Christ and God, because that's what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So there is a consequence. We know about the consequence. The consequence is in the Bible, right? So we know about these things. That meant he needs to repent from his sins, or we know where he goes. So he does have a consequence.
What if he's not religious?
Me and you both know where he goes.
Yeah, right. But what's the?
It doesn't matter.
But what's the material
knows.
Consequence for the immoral action? If you're saying.
I'm talking about.
Is this a proponent for divorce? I don't understand. Like what?
It's not a proponent.
He's not promoting it, and he's saying
no. My question is, I want to know what Andrew's hypothetical punishment for the man would be. I'm just curious, genuinely curious.
Well, so in this case, I think that you could have church chastisement, but more importantly, what that means is community chastisement.
Got it.
You are not allowed to fuck around on your wife, right? Or brother kicks your ass. Dad kicks your ass, right?
Okay.
You get, the community used to kind of keep these people in line. They used to kind of keep the enforcement protocol. This is a big problem with male and female dynamics now that I see is that there's no community backing this up. That's why I think covenant marriage is far superior to state marriage because it gives you access to that community. It gives you access to a whole new set of ecclesiastical law, which is way better to deal with the interpersonal dynamics between men and women inside marriage. They've been doing it for 2,000 years, right?
Michael and I were just talking about this earlier about how in the military, Uniform Code of Military Justice, you actually get kicked out of the military or
you can go to jail.
There's a consequence.
You can go to jail,
Though fraternization happens there far more than is, and it's all about who you know, right? But the point is like, I think there has to be a consequence to him too. Otherwise, I don't understand how it's not a promotion to say, look, he was at an office party. He screwed some chick who was there.
Well,
nothing happens to him, right?
Well, men need to enforce, those consequences.
Yes.
So then that's a different story. So
yes.
Yeah. And your prescription of what you said, having a church back up the consequences and stuff like that, or having your brother, or your uncle, or your father, give consequences.
Yeah, I'm not saying in the marriage
like
necessarily,
yeah. Okay.
but make it to where he really would prefer to not do that again.
Yeah.
The big elephant in the room too, though, is like the damage it does to the relationship between the husband and the wife, right? You're chipping away at trust. You're chipping away at loyalty. You're chipping away at the leadership that you so desire.
Yeah, but I want to see it on both ends too.
100%.
So I want to see women also. So what happens right now, because it's all state endorsed marriage, is that men are getting fucked bad by when women leave. I mean, they almost universally win. I think under any type of ecclesiastical authority, it's going to be far better for men and women. Because the church isn't going to be like, okay, yeah, take half his shit, and here's alimony, and here's everything else. They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see it on both ends. You know what I mean?
Alice, what do you think?
I think so. I am not in a monogamous relationship. So I think I don't know how much I can say about the topic. Anyway, I think there are like two aspects to cheating.
Yeah.
First one is the actual act of a man having sex with another woman. And the second part is the fact that he lied to you. So if you are in a monogamous relationship, you guys kind of had this...
an agreement.
An agreement that we're not like fucking with anybody else, basically. So he lied to you, and he wasn't like truthful to the agreement. He wasn't truthful to you. So, yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just... Go ahead.
Sorry. I kind of lost my thought now.
I'm sorry. It occurred to me. I wanted to ask this follow-up.
I was sure that you're going to say
so
something.
So if you were actually in that situation, and this happened with your daughter, right? Would you go in and lay that guy out?
Well, if you're talking personally, right?
Yeah.
So me and the way I'm handling my daughter, because I do have a daughter, well, I'm going to be very old-fashioned. I'm going to choose the man that she marries, right? So that means I'm going to have a very high stake in that man. So I'm probably going to know that man better than she knows that man, right? That's going to be my job. So within that, me and that man is going to have a relationship, right? A tight relationship.
So he's getting knocked out.
Well. It's not about a
just
knockout.
Say he's getting knocked out.
It's not about a knockout, but he will feel some force of action. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
totally fair.
So that's why I agreed with what you said. I didn't disagree with that. But when we're speaking about the context of the conversation was talking about the woman, you flipped it over to the man. So we were just talking at two different angles. Because I was saying that the woman, she would, why would, like, if she leaves, it's like, okay, there's no benefit really for her leaving. She got to start all over. Now, say if that dude was, we already know, I mean, Rollo speaks about it a lot, like women tend to get alpha widowed. You know what I'm saying? So let's say if he just happens to be top G, you know what I'm saying? And then she leaves that dude. Dang, now she's really not going to be able to find another guy. She'll never be satisfied. So then she's going to be yearning for what she used to have, and then she just left that relationship. So she's never going to be happy. And also her value decreased, not only just to the world, but to her.
Yeah, I think that presupposes a lot of things, though, that I'm not necessarily willing to grant. So
Sure.
I'm not sure that it presupposes that she has the top dog. I'm not sure that, I would engage with a presupposition that these aren't just kind of normal people, right? Maybe this guy's just a mechanic.
We can say that as normal. Yeah.
Good. It was just a good-looking chick. It was a one-time fling. I'm not saying you have to destroy the entire marriage. In fact, you shouldn't. You should do everything you can to work on it, right? You should do everything you can to reconcile it before you make that kind of extra step, right? Because you're right. It'll destroy the whole family.
Yeah.
It'll destroy kids. It'll destroy the woman. It'll destroy everything. I'm just saying that absent consequence, you definitely create an incentive for her and him. So I'm like, look, for her, it's really hard to tailor consequences to women in modernity. But the one thing we do know is it's not hard to tailor consequences to men, right?
It's not.
Well, I would say the man does, generally speaking. I would say the man would feel some type of consequences is because women are neurotic creatures, so they feel more negative emotion than men. That means that she's going to be giving him problems in that relationship if he cheats emotionally. She's going to be draining all her emotions on that man. We all know that happens. So the fact that you're saying that he doesn't experience any consequences, well, I would say that usually when a man lies to a woman and he cheats on that woman, and that woman happens to stay, she's bringing that up forever. So he will feel consequences to the end of time.
I mean, maybe, but if you're in a religious situation, you reconciling that's going to take years. But marriage is work, right? Like it takes years anyway. It's a lifelong process.
Lieutenant, what did you think?
I have a really hard time with this because I was just about to get married about 5 years ago, and I was 6 weeks away from getting married. And this guy that I thought was like my best friend and like that I knew everything about him and all of this stuff, I found out he was cheating on me the entire time we were together, which was 3 years. And it was super, super devastating for me. It like literally broke me. And so in my opinion, I at this point in my life, after what I've experienced, I would say it's a deal breaker.
I have a question. You two are in polyamorous relationships. You're in a polygynous relationship. Do you guys,
Not poly, just open.
What do you mean?
Wait,
Just open.
Okay.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
I'm not
Well, poly is when you have like
Poly is
multiple
when you have
partners,
actual partners
like girlfriends.
involved.
Okay.
Relationship.
Okay.
Not
Like
Yeah.
monogamy
dating.
between multiple people? Okay.
Okay. So what my
It's a
question is,
destiny
your
situation.
alternative,
Okay.
your alternative decision, did it come from you having a realization, your words, about men's nature? Is that why you've come to the different type of relationship?
Well, first of all, I'm bisexual.
Okay.
So I love men and I love women.
Yeah.
So I needed to find the kind of relationship that would work
Got it.
for me. And then my husband now, when I met him, he was like, hey, I think in my nature right now, I wouldn't want to be in a monogamous relationship.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you that straight away right now. And I was like, that's perfect. Like, that's a perfect thing for me. Because, like, together we can do something, or, like, I can do something, or he can do something.
I think
It's
it
like,
only has the possibility of growth and getting better if you guys are on the same page.
Oh, yeah,
Because if you're not,
absolutely.
then it's just
Yep.
absolutely not going to work.
Miranda, was there a come to Jesus moment that made you feel differently about this?
I think I was married once when I was in my early 20s, and he ended up being an abusive narcissist, and having that feeling of being owned and controlled for such a long period of time kind of pushed me to a point where, like, I don't want anybody else to feel like they're owned or controlled in any way. And I value freedom, and I want my partner to feel like he is free to have whatever experience he wants. If he wants to go and, I don't know, do cocaine off of a stripper's butt, I don't know, and that's the experience he wants, I want him to be able to communicate that with me, and so that we can talk about it. And
Miranda, you mentioned before that you had an acrimonious relationship with your parents or your dad. Did that maybe lead to you being in a relationship? Do you think that made you want a relationship that was a bit more chaotic? Could you have been attracted and maybe not seen the signs?
Oh, you mean with my ex-husband?
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Like, that trauma was not healed yet at that point in time.
Okay.
I was very naive, and I totally attracted that individual into my life.
Okay.
I was very, like, just very naive.
It's
and
very, very
empathetic,
enlightened of you.
And empaths will attract narcissists
Okay.
into their lives.
What about you, Jesse? You just you like the girls and that's it? You like to eat at the Y and that's all?
Oh my god.
What specifically are you asking me?
God,
right
I
now?
wish we would have had her on that interview yesterday.
So you so you have a monogamous relationship. Some women, I've especially here in Las Vegas, are comfortable with an extra monogamous extra relationship, and I'm curious if the reason why is because of a bad experience with a partner previously.
No, and I think what we were talking about before was the cheating aspect. It's not cheating if you're both in agreement of something.
Yes. Yeah.
So, like, if I decide, because I also am bisexual, and my husband obviously likes women as well, so he and I would enjoy something together. But the moment he steps out of bounds and does something behind my back, he's broken the trust and the agreement that we had.
Yeah.
It's not based off of, all men cheat, so I'm just going to make my
I got your back, dog. I won't snitch on you. I won't snitch. Don't worry about it. We're good. We're good, homie. I won't snitch.
Both of your heads. Yeah, that's my husband, by the way.
Yeah.
I will clink both your heads together. But no, I don't think that this is based off of me feeling like, all men cheat, so I'm just going to bring girls home so he won't cheat.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, scumbags are scumbags, they're still going to go outside of the threesomes and the marriage and still find girls on their own.
Okay.
So it's not based off of that. It's just
You
personal
know,
preference.
I finally found this, and
Oh, good Lord.
every time we have this conversation, I always want to bring up this data set, and I never get to pop this up. This is Rolf Deegan. He says the idea of open relationships is likely to be most attractive to those who see themselves as having higher quality relationship options. So whoever is the hottest.
So
seems to think
the
that
study
they've
is
got- yeah.
whoever has the highest
Well,
sexual market
in
value is
da-
usually the one wanting an
in
open
data
relationship.
sets from the United States, Europe, and Korea, perceptions of higher quality alternatives were consistently associated with more interest in consensual non-monogamy, ergo open relationships. Further consistent with the previous work on commitment-motivated relationships maintenance processes, we found support for the indirect effect whereby lower commitment was associated with higher perceived attractiveness of alternatives, which in turn was associated with the. Sorry, I'll give you the quick version. The data suggests that consensual non-monogamy is likely to be most attractive to those who see themselves as having higher relationship.
The hotter
options.
partner wants the
hotter partner wants the open
non-monogamy.
relationship.
That's what the study found in general.
He's hot.
Huh?
He's hot.
Yeah.
But I'm the one that
No,
brings
I'm not
girls
saying no.
home.
I'm not saying it's you specifically. I'm just saying in general.
The one that thinks they have the most.
The one that thinks they have the most gain
from
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It tends to be the partner that is that one that
wants
initiates
I
it.
think that makes sense, especially that the second person that maybe not necessarily wants it, and she feels that
You're in
she's
you're in an open relationship, or you were.
I don't like to say it.
And
this
you
way,
are.
But yeah,
was it you
let's-
that initiated it, or was it the guy?
So
that
my
initiated
husband
it?
initiated.
He did it.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just gonna.
And
air
I
out
don't
all
think
my
he's hotter
shit.
than me. I mean, he's a cool guy, but I don't think he's hotter than me.
So with me, it's not necessarily like I want to go out and seek other men. I have no interest in seeking out other men whatsoever. My thing is allowing him to do what he wants to do, because
So that's the purpose of what.
It's-
That's the function of it. Then is to allow him, because her function is different than your function when it comes to.
yeah. Well,
the way
like
you
I
guys-
also do like the three-way thing
Mm.
as well. You know,
Every fucking episode, we create one of these.
Amber, you've been
Every episode, David.
I love
That's
you,
it.
Amber.
All I
you,
do is
Amber.
set up
love you, Amber.
threesomes. I swear to God,
I love
that's
you,
what my
Amber. I'm
show
just kidding.
is.
Original wifey, I love you.
Welcome to Las Vegas.
Yeah, come over here.
Which one are we doing next?
Okay, let's do
Okay.
this one right here.
Oh well. Oh, Dave's back. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see where.
All right, ladies, we need you to react to this video. It's very important. You guys check this one out, okay?
Oh God.
Oh, it's Dave. Okay, got it. Right here. Hang on a second.
That's the problem now. Men is not crying. They running through their emotions and just running through, not facing stuff.
Well, that's incorrect. This is why you need guidance, because someone that cries, that means that they don't have the ability to have control of their emotions. So you saying that that's the problem with men nowadays? No, the problem with men nowadays is that they're more emotional. An emotional man ends up in prison. An emotional man would steal something. An emotional man will punch you in the face for saying something maybe that he doesn't like because it triggered his emotion. An emotional man will be hitting a woman.
Hiding it inside, shoving it down, crying and letting it out.
When you let it, this is very simple. When you let it out, they go to prison. When you let it out, they shoot up a school. When you let it out, they steal. That's when they let it out. You're looking at it all wrong. The emotional, intelligent person gets things done, acts a certain way, despite how they feel. Dang, homie was spitting.
Oh,
who was
nice.
that guy?
Who was that guy?
God damn.
All right, does anybody have a comment on that
I have
specifically?
a comment.
Go ahead, Miranda.
So I think the woman's perspective is that they think that men should release their emotions in a way, not in front of their woman, but in a way that allows them to get it out of their system. When they suppress their emotions, say their father died or their mom died, and they literally refuse to cry and they don't let it out, tears are actually like trauma and emotion coming out of the body. You need to release that. And when you constantly suppress that emotion and say something just randomly triggers you one day, that's when they snap. That's when they hit the individual and go to jail. It's because they have all of these emotions that have been suppressed over time, and it builds and builds and builds, so finally it hits a point where they explode.
Do you think you can
That's what I
clean
think.
water before you drink it?
What do you kind of
Do you think
question
you
is
could
that?
clean water before you drink it? You just said that, well, it's good for people to just, they need to go ahead and let it out because that helps them deal with it, right? Do you think you could clean water before you drink it? So that means that, do you think you can handle what's going inside before you let it out? God dang,
sure
you didn't get
how
that?
that
Oh,
question.
what the-
No.
Okay, never mind.
Does anybody else get that question?
You could clean what's inside, meaning that before you drink water, we gotta clean water. It has to go through cycles before that water gets clean, before we drink it, right? So I'm saying that that's with your emotions. Your emotions, before you let your emotions out, you need to do some internally thinking, right? Well, one, you can't be all in your feelings.
Yeah, you need to process your emotions. That's what I'm saying.
Regulate your emotions.
Yeah.
You need to regulate your
Miranda.
emotions. And this is why you need guidance from a man, because women lack the ability to regulate their emotions.
Okay, I'm just going to point this out. Ready?
What is
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let's get into endocrinology here, right? We have way more testosterone than women do. Some of the attributes of testosterone. You'll notice that guys, when they get on TRT, they'll get off of Adderall because they can focus more, because that's what our ancestors did, our hunter-gatherer ancestors. We would have more testosterone. We'd be able to focus more. We have more muscle mass. We have more protein synthesis, which builds bigger muscles and more dense bone structure, okay? And so because of that, because we have the, oh gosh, what was the thing he was just saying? I just lost my train of thought here.
Oh, no.
You got to clean the water before you drink it.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I remember what I was saying. For us, we'll feel, this is really crazy. I tried to explain this to a girl I was dating. I feel the same emotions you do. The difference is, because of the way testosterone has made me, I get a positive emotion from accomplishing shit. Does that make sense? Testosterone makes effort feel good. I love it after that sore feeling after I lift weights. You're probably familiar with that feeling, right? Okay. So that feeling of like accomplishing a goal, what happens is I may have all these emotions tied up in me, but like I have to go take care of my sales team and run my company and like take care of my family, even if I don't feel like it. Does that make sense? And then afterwards, once I accomplish the goal, even though I don't feel like it, I don't break down and shoot a school. I feel great because I accomplished something instead of, I have the emotional regulation to not act out on it. Does that make sense? And I will tell you, testosterone is a major reason why men are like that. And you'll see like, a lot of times when guys get in low T and they start producing a lot of estrogen, they start getting the man boobs or whatever, that's when you start seeing, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. That's where that came. I'm telling you, by the way, I guarantee you what happened with Will Smith is he's on TRT and he didn't take an estrogen blocker, and that's why he started that. I guarantee you that's what happened.
It did sound like that.
Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. That's the cracking, that's estrogen. I'm telling you, that's what happened there. So in this situation, what happens is for us, we still have feelings like you do, right? The thing is, we express our feelings, or we express love through my man, Wes Watson. He says this, love is a verb, right? There's love, waving a flag saying, I love the United States of America. And then there's those men who stormed Normandy and were willing to die. That's a different type of love through action. Does that make sense? Where does that love expression through action come from? It comes from masculine energy. That is what being masculine is, doing a thing, right? So we're expressing ourselves just like you are, except we don't need to cry and be vulnerable in order to do it. Does that make
At
sense?
zero point, did I say that men needed to cry? And I did not say that men should cry in front of their woman either.
Right, but
I said that they need to deal with their emotions.
I think in this clip, that's what that's what her point was. David was there.
Okay,
Maybe.
well, that's not what I was hearing. I thought she was just saying that men need to.
By the way, if you're a man and you have a child with a woman and she's been a good wife to you and you want to cry the first time you have a child, that's totally but she earned that. She earned that. When you first meet a woman, fellas, if you are crying or bitching about the fact that you got cheated on, you are a moron. That is not what you should do.
So let me see if I can add a little bit to this too, because every time the topic of emotions comes up, everybody seems to think that men and women like are exactly the same when it comes to processing emotion. We are not. You do not have the same hardware. You literally have different wiring in your brain than men have in their brains. So when you're saying like, when it comes to emotional regulation, okay, well, when men become emotional, they tend to default to anger. When women become emotional, they tend to devolve to crying or hysterics or whatever. Usually it's a panic, response because you feel unsafe, because you feel insecure. Something's going to get me. I'm going to cry. This is the only thing I can do. Men, since we're action oriented, we get pissed off because it's a fight or flight response to that. Yeah. So men and women literally do not have the same hardware in their brains. But from your response, which is really, I hate to say typical, but it's the typical response from women and the women that were on your show as well. The presumption is that men emote exactly the same way as women do because they believe in this blank slate bullshit, okay? Which is, we're all the same thing, we all have the same hardware, we're all the same. No, we down to the microscopic, down to the cellular level, men and women are different. To the point where our brains, if you take, they have done this before, take fMRI scans of men's brains and women's brains, and you look at the synapses and how they're connected, and you lay them on top of each other, they're the perfect fucking complement.
There's also a logical way to look at this, which is duty. Men actually have a duty to suppress their emotions. The reason we have a duty to suppress our emotions, and in society we have a duty to suppress our emotions, is because when that guy's pissed off, he can rip the doors off the fucking hinges, throw them across the room, and if it hits you, it would kill you, literally.
Yeah,
it's not a joke.
Because the default is to anger, and the default is to fight.
When men get super angry, they become the Incredible Hulk. To me, it's so funny because the amount of damage that even the average man can do, women generally in modernity are spared from seeing that, right? You, though, you were in the military, you know, men can be extremely savage.
Well, the one thing
that
I
think,
go ahead.
But I think that we're raised in an environment, and always have been. Traditionally, we've always been raised where you have a greater duty to suppress and control your emotions, not only so that you don't damage the environment that's around you and damage women and damage everything else, but even so that you don't damage men. It's better to cooperate with men. That's a higher duty than to damage the things that are around you with anger and emotion.
Yeah, one of the things that I've been dying to ask both of you to get your perspectives is, because I was in the military, I saw a lot of men go inward, almost to a detriment where they unalived themselves. I literally was thinking of one particular person that was in the bunk just a couple bunks over from me that unalived himself. And this is the highest rate of unaliving is with men. Sure. And so, talk to me about that. Give me a little bit of information. You're talking about men process emotions differently, et cetera. There's obviously a reason they're having this issue.
They have a great burden of duty on their shoulders, and especially if they're in the military, that duty increases drastically as responsibility gets put on their shoulders. It's no surprise to me that if you put heaps and heaps of duty on a person without any form of praise or any type of kind of societal push to help that person as well, that's why you see those rates. Anytime I look, even if you break it down ethnically, you break it down racially, it always seems to be people who are in the fields where they have kind of the greater duties, which are for family, for king, for country, whatever it is, that you see, usually in their 30s or 40s. It's just too much. They're not getting any form of support, including from other men, and that's usually why they end up self-terminating.
I believe the rates of attempted taking your own life are about the same for men and women.
Oh, really?
But men tend to use firearms and jump off of things and then hang themselves, whereas women tend to use pills.
Not in the military.
Yeah. What do you mean?
In the military, that doesn't hold true. So men and women in the military...
men you commit,
far and away more.
Well, I think why that might be the case in the military is because if I'm a woman in the military, my options with men are plentiful. And if I'm a man in the military and I'm at Fort Bragg, or if I'm at Fort Hood, or if I'm Clovis, New Mexico, my options with women are minimal. I may also be deployed and my wife may be doing whatever. Whereas if I'm a woman, I'm getting massive amounts of attention. I think that may have something to do with it.
Yeah, well, I also think that they have to do far more egregious jobs.
Oh, for sure. Okay, I agree with that.
And I think that that's another, heavy contributing factor. But again, always when I look at these charts, I see it's the more duty with the least amount of, I don't know what you would call it, like societal kickback or thanks or something like this, support for hey, thanks for doing your duty. Thanks for doing your job. Seems to be always men who are in that position who are at the higher rates of self-termination. Yeah. But they definitely have a duty to suppress their emotion for the safety of everybody in their environment. Women who say this, they go, I wish you were more in touch with your emotions. No, the fuck you don't. Last thing you want me to do is touch my emotions. Last thing you want to do is see what goes on in my head. Last thing you want to do is see what I actually think about things. It's the worst thing possible.
That was actually the point I was getting at.
Yeah, best thing is for me to suppress all of it, and for you too.
For the last, ever since the sexual revolution, we have, because we believe in this blank slate bullshit, it's Men need to express themselves more. They're bottling it up. They're doing this. And they need to be more emotionally expressive. They need to get in touch with their feminine side because the feminine the idea is that there's some sort of animus balance between the two. And functionally, it's incorrect. This is a dead meme that we still
There is no
cling to
equilibrium.
today.
There is no equilibrium. There is no equality.
But here, my point was always this: is like I always use this as an example. It's like if just because you didn't cry at the end of Titanic doesn't mean you're like emotionally stunted as a male human being, because all the women are just crying over the what transpired. But the long and the short of this is that
did you cry at the end of Titanic?
Of course,
Rollo?
No, Saving Private Ryan, I did. No. But at the end of the day, it's the idea is that men are functionally equivalent to women, and so therefore, if it made her cry and it's not making you cry, there must be something very wrong with you.
You don't feel the same way.
Yes, and we just simply don't have the hardware to do that. We do feel emotion. We just don't see. We don't lead with it. We don't. It's the process is this. It's emotion, instinct, emotion, and reason. Instinct is the easiest one. It's fight or flight. It's what's the most. If I threw something at you right now, you instinctively flinch away from it. That's the fastest way of responding to our environment. Emotion is the next one. And remember, emotion's not magic. It's not like pixie dust that falls down. I can change your emotion by shooting you up with a bunch of testosterone, or we can all go and drink that bottle of gin right there, and we can all suddenly feel better about ourselves because we have a different emotion. We're put into a different emotional state. And then there's reason, and reason is the slowest because we have to learn how to respond to things, how to act to things, what's the best practice in this particular situation from a previous experience that maybe we learned the hard way and maybe we didn't. So those are the instinct, emotion, and reason. Women tend to do instinct, emotion, and reason. Men tend to do instinct, reason, and then emotion. How did it make us feel after we figure out and solve that problem? How did it make us feel after Titanic is over? We're not crying there, but why did she cry? You might wonder about that. But men tend to process emotion after the reasons part, whereas women tend to go from instinct, emotion, and then to reason.
Let me get to these super chats real quick.
Yeah, I got some too.
Straight up.
Great video, by the way.
Huh?
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Siege D, great work bringing Andrew Wilson and David Cooley instead of Walmart Mia Khalifa and Jacob Jafar. Shout out to Farrah and Jasmine.
I had those glasses on tap.
We want you guys to come on for sure.
Please, I promise I won't piss you off.
Asking
anymore.
for Andrew.
Well, maybe not.
Asking for Andrew. Can we smoke inside of Sticky Paws? Question mark. No. Also, shout out to Rachel
I'm
Wilson.
using Zen.
There we go. Also, shout out to Rachel Wilson and The Crucible. Marriage causes divorce. There's no such thing as a quality man. If you give a woman Tom Brady, Johnny Depp, and Brad Pitt, they will still find something to moan and complain about. Marriage causes divorce. Neurotic is not a negative. It helps babies get more attention, and they care because women draw attention to their baby. It is an evolved survival strategy. Roberto Flores says, a man can make $50K a year, but have a net worth of $500,000. Case in point, his 401k can be upwards of $300 to $400K. Not including his property. It isn't always about what he earns at his current job. Okay, so his wealth, got it. And then also, marriage causes divorce. Women benefit psychologically from leaving their husbands. They get to escape boredom or low-quality mate, and they may find something better. That's weird. Okay, I don't know.
To respond to that super chat, he's right. The incentives right now in society do incentivize women to leave and step out of their marriage much more than they incentivize men to do so.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's like, I mean, he's right about that, right? He's like, wait a second, there's, this is gonna lower your value. You're gonna have a lot of problems with this ending the relationship. On the other hand, it's like we can't give a special pass the other way either. But we're gonna have to do something to reconcile this, especially in the divorce courts, so that doesn't happen anymore.
Roberto Flores, when men set boundaries, women tend to see that as controlling. Women believe they can set limitless boundaries. Setting boundaries is healthy and necessary. That's true. I found that the case, like if somebody tests my boundaries for a while and all of a sudden I become very dispassionate and I say, these are my boundaries and I'm not going to do anything, they would call me a narcissist. I'm like, no, I gave you plenty of leeway. But what happens is you tested my boundaries. And I look at life as an if-then statement. If you continue to validate what I need in a relationship, then we'll be together forever. If you can't, then we won't. And I say say the same thing with people that my clients and my business partners. It's the same exact thing. It's an if-then statement. The boundaries then, like what he's talking about with consequences, the boundaries then allow for me to have a healthier relationship with these people. Again, the neighborhoods in the United States that have the lowest amount of crime, you know what they are? It's dual gun ownership in North Texas. There's when people know I'm not breaking into this motherfucker's house, there's a boundary, then all of a sudden there's no crime and everyone's very happy. That's the way it works. So that's what I'm saying. When you can create boundaries, it's beneficial for everyone. I actually think prenups, believe it or not, are beneficial for marriages because it disincentivizes both sides from leaving the marriage for selfish reasons. Got it? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Everything requirements of force is based around incentivization or de-incentivizing.
Yeah,
everything
I was about
to
to
state,
say.
everything.
I got these. Enhance your game. Ladies, less attacking, please. So emotional. Andrew, God bless you for dealing with these emotions. Conventionally masculine men don't need permission to lead. They just lead. If she has to let him lead, who is really the leader? I always talk about that, allowing. The saint and sinner's name must be spelled and pronounced properly next time. Marquette or Marquette?
It's Marquette.
Marquette, right?
Is that not correct?
Am I
It's
right?
Marquette. Yeah, it's
Marquette.
Marquette.
Yeah.
I think people get confused.
I was saying it right.
Because
Don't
there
give me
was
this
the
shit.
punter for the Raiders was Marquette King, and I think that's why people get it wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is Jessie even coming back? Every time she's here, she's mad and rude with men.
That's why she's back. What are you talking about?
That's exactly why
What
we
are you
brought
talking
her
about?
back.
Can you imagine if we had like 8 super misogynistic women on here, and it got to the point where like David and Andrew were like, "Ladies, calm down. All right, we're not bringing
She
back
was super
slavery.
nice in the parking lot. What happened?
We're not. Women should be able to vote. Chill out, ladies. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to have like guests on and have women just like plants, just hyper misogynistic, like crazy shit. Where you're like, "Hey, I don't really think you should do that. You shouldn't beat your wife." Anyway, go ahead.
We need more women to just sit down and don't say anything. Exactly. Right. Okay. Andrew, sir, thank you for being here. I truly love your content. I waited for this for so long. Enhance your game again. Amy, please stop being neurotic.
I love that you paid $2 for that.
You may respond to all of these. I actually, RP Monsta says, these girls to, 3 names of country. Dude, you're not intelligent enough to even
He also
finish your
only paid
ESL.
He didn't even pay a whole $2. He just paid $1.99.
To say, I'm gonna read it literally here. These girls to name 3 countries. LOL.
Pass. Goodbye.
Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kuwait.
You have to actually be able to spell it in English before you get that question there. Again, it's not what you say; it's how you say it. Why must we always cater our speech to you? Blondie, thing 1 and thing 2. It's easy for you guys to get triggered. Out of pocket variety show. Lieutenant Danielle over there needs to chill on the good brothers, Cooley and Andrew. They come from a place of tough love and honesty, no hatred at all.
I believe that.
That's not. Dumb and Dumber twins. Stop sharing one brain. If men must face community, family chat, you may respond to any of these. Family chastisement for infidelity. Should women face the same chastisement for being promiscuous before marriage?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, who said that?
I said yeah.
You think women should?
I mean, society should always be moving.
If men must face community, family chastisement for infidelity, should women face the same chastisement
Yes.
for being promiscuous before marriage?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, society used to have that built in. That was a built-in function.
There's
Again, this is a religious foundation that built that function in. But yes, I absolutely think that for promiscuity, that is something that at a societal level should definitely be pushed back against from both sexes.
It is okay, Zarf. Thank you for whatever this was. It is physically impossible for a man to emote like a woman. The problem is that men are treated like they are abnormal for not being able to emote exactly like a woman.
Except by other men.
Yeah.
Other men seem to intuitively understand
Well,
it.
I'll tell you the other thing is, but yeah, I would agree with you, except for there's a lot of feminized guys these days who are probably
Yeah, but I
would
think
get
that
up
they're
on
Look at my
always
comments.
pandering.
Yeah, I know.
I think if you get those guys
I
aside,
know.
if I talk to them aside, I'm like, come on. They go, yeah, I know, but there was women around. Did
You just want to
say
grab them and be
something
like,
impressive.
she's not gonna fuck you because you wrote that simpy ass shit in my fucking comments. She'll never fuck you.
Chris says, ladies, when was the last time you were wrong, took accountability for it, and apologized? Please share the story.
Allie, go ahead.
When's the last time you apologized?
Babe, when was the last time I apologized to
I
you?
was going to say, look at your husband. Make eye contact.
You better have the right answer. You better say that shit right.
Yeah, I'm pretty quick with apologizing right away. If he breaks something down for me, and I'm like, oh, this was me. I got humbled. but I don't feel like I'm too proud to apologize.
Do you have the insight to know when you're wrong and then apologize?
Or
do you have to have that explained to you?
No. I have come to him a few times like, you know what? I feel like I might have handled this the wrong way. I apologize for saying this to you in that form, but this is why I did it. And not that it excuses it, but this is why I did it. And I feel like I've done that more often than not. There have been a few times where I might not realize I'm being more emotional than anything. And he'll have to point it out to me. Maybe I'm on my period. I don't know. But like, I have enough self-awareness to point out when I know I'm probably taking it the wrong way or maybe doing the most while being angry. Would you agree? Okay.
Nice therapy session we're having.
There you go. Nice. Ali, what do you have to say to all your haters?
To all my haters?
Yeah, what did all these people talk?
Too many
You don't. They don't. I just wanted you to say something. I'm sorry. You've just been sitting over there.
But in reply to that, like, I think at times personally, like, I'm a complete psychopath. But in my relationship, I do strive to be open and communicate. So if I do fuck up, like,
Hey, ladies, I'm gonna tell you.
shit.
I'm gonna tell you this. There's so many dudes who want to fuck you. You can keep acting crazy, and more dudes will keep wanting to fuck you. If you want a long-term relationship with a high-status man, you're gonna have to learn to say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I fucked up right here. Don't listen to me. That's fine. When you're fucking 44, come back to me like, yeah, Michael, you were right." Okay, that's the difference. Trust me. If you want the world to give you, the world will never give you immediate feedback because you're pretty. Because guys are desperate. 28% of men under the age of 30 are virgins. You guys are they're desperate. OnlyFans, $6 billion in revenue. That's the reason why. So you guys will always, on the short term, there will always be short-term sexual options for you that make you think that you can just say whatever the fuck. Oh, I'm on my period. That's why I said it. It's totally fine because I'm on my fucking period and you should understand. But if you guys want a long-term relationship with a man worth keeping, you're going to have to learn I was wrong here and I'm going to apologize before we go to bed, okay, I was wrong. That's how you're going to keep it.
Check yourself.
Guys, please understand, your physical attractiveness, especially a man who has options, your physical attractiveness is here. Your ability to bring him peace is way the fuck up here. And it's your insecurity about your physical attractiveness. Turn that shit off. Don't even put on the fucking makeup. We don't even care. It's your ability to bring us peace is so much more important. And that, I'm telling you right there, if you can grasp that concept, you're going to land the perfect man.
I got Thomas V says, do you think if tradcons, traditional conservatives, understood female hypergamy, female solipsism, and Briffelt's law the same way that we do, would that change their views on today's current social order?
Is that a question for me?
If you'd like to field it, sir.
I think that we do look at things.
I think you do.
Through the prism of hypergamy being real. We have a different way that we view things. We view things through the religious prism. But religion is not stupid. Christianity's been around for several thousand years. The church has dealt with this. If you go read what the saints say about the nature of women, you should probably go do that. They sound like they're red pillars, literally. That's what a lot of saints sound like when they're talking about the nature of women. That they cry for things that they want, that they take peace away from the home. There's all sorts of different things that require the regulation of the church and of ecclesiastical authority to keep these things under control inside of society. I think where the red pill goes wrong is that they don't make great prescriptors to the descriptors. I think tradcons can do that where red pillars cannot do that. And that's where I think the disconnect is.
Okay, I got another one here. FYI, Bob says, Rollo, there is a tradcon on the Blaze called Steve Dace, a devoted Christian who decided to also dip his toe into the manosphere for red pill content. He has opinions on masculinity after the shooting in Kansas City. Okay, well, thank you. Let's see, what else
By the way, how many people here at this table are religious?
Sorry, what was your question?
Religious? How many are religious?
How many people are
religious?
I wrote a book on it. Literally.
Yeah. I think where the disconnect happens, and it's kind of like, I even hate that we're having this conversation because most of us are on the same side politically, and then we're getting views from arguing with each other. It seems kind of pointless. Yeah. It even says in the Bible, you stick your hand to the plow while looking back. You're not fit for the kingdom of God. There's wisdom. They prescribe wisdom in the Bible. You're supposed to have. It's not just blindly follow and do stupid things. And so when you understand that concept, this idea that you're just supposed to believe one thing and not have any discernment, that's not the case. So I think
without temperance, there can't be wisdom. And so this is what I mean by men having to control their emotions. That's part of the virtue of temperance. So
here's thank you for the $50. With 3 military veterans at the table tonight, can I ask everyone's opinion on equalizing the military draft to include registering 18-plus-year-old women? Also, for the Alex fans, Andrew, please don't obfuscate. Love you, Crucible Commander-in-Chief. Vets, what do you think?
Yes, women
I
should be
agree.
drafted. And if you don't know this already, other countries are already requiring 2 years. Italy is an example of that.
Finland is like that.
Yeah.
Israel is like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
women should be in the military draft if there's one.
Okay. Anybody else?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
At the very least, they should be held to the same standards of selective
I
service.
totally disagree.
Yes.
Okay, what do you think?
I don't think that women should vote or should be drafted.
Ooh,
so I would remove the responsibility arc from women when it comes to voting and when it comes to being drafted. I think that the military is far better with women in support roles. I think that law enforcement is far better with women in support roles and not in primary roles. So no, I completely disagree. I would eliminate the draft for women, but I'd also eliminate some other things like voting and some other things like that.
I got to tell you just one critical position that a woman played in Afghanistan in the middle of a war zone in a way that a man could never. And that is during the day in many villages in Afghanistan, the men go away to work, which leaves behind villages full of women and kids by themselves. Okay.
Just
and
like
what happens is you need a woman to go into those spaces in the middle of a war zone to go have conversations with those women for intel purposes, General McChrystal, winning hearts and minds, you name it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's religious reasons that men cannot speak to those women. You need women that can be on the front lines. You need women to do those jobs.
So that's still a support role.
It is not.
It is.
My friend,
That
it
is
is
a
not.
support
I was
role.
part of an 8-woman female engagement team. I promise you, nothing about my job was a support role.
So let me ask you a question, like an honest question. Are the standards in the United States Army for women and their physical readiness and fitness less than that of men in combat roles?
Okay, so believe me, I've been debating this since I was 17 years old. I'm happy to talk to you about this. Yes, to answer your question.
Is there
Hold
a
on. Wait.
I just want to finish this one point.
Okay.
Is there a single female Navy SEAL?
Oh, yeah, there is actually.
I
Yeah.
thought there was one female ranger. Is there
Yeah.
a female
there's
SEAL?
multiple female rangers as well.
I wasn't aware that there was a female
Kristen
SEAL.
Greist is one of them.
She's a female Navy SEAL?
I wasn't worried about a SEAL, but I know about a ranger.
Oh no, sorry, I cannot name any off the top of my head, but that is not because there's not. There definitely is.
I don't think there's a single female Navy SEAL that's actually gone through basic underwater demolition school and passed it.
Okay, well, hold on a second, because now we're getting into women even being allowed to even try. Okay,
They're allowed to try.
Okay, but I know the dates and timelines on this shit. So 2016 was the first year women were even allowed to even attempt to go into those roles. And I was actually one of those first women that even went to go through the schools for it. When I went through OCS, I was going through OCS with the intent to become one of the first female infantry officers. Okay, it took me asking 8 years in a row to even go to air assault school. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I got denied. I was multiple things in the military, but I was in for 16 years. But what's really, really important is I asked for 8 years to go, and I met not just meet the physical requirements. The physical requirements are on a scale of 0 to 300. I not only maxed it at 300 on the women's scale, which I'll give you that, but I went over that, and I met what the 18-year-old males were doing. I was running 2 miles in 12 minutes, which is 6-minute miles. That's pretty fucking fast, okay? And I did that as a very, very capable, qualified female. I still wasn't allowed to go to air assault school. Here's the reason why. You're a girl. You'll never make it through. For 8 years, I got told that. And finally, on the 8th year, I made it through. So I just want to tell you, I fully agree with women being held to the same standard as male. But yes, we do have physical differences. That does not mean in today's age that we can't fight the same way.
Let me ask you a logical question. The United States military was separated by men and women, and there was a internal conflict, an internal war where half of the army went against the other half. They had the same resources, same everything. One half was women, one half was men. Which one would win overwhelmingly?
So, sorry, can you say that question one more time?
Yeah. Let's assume we split the army in half, gave them exactly the same resources, exactly the same manpower, exactly the same tanks, jets, air support, everything.
The men would probably
Men on one side, women on the other. Who wins?
I don't know, because there's been some amazing.
know.
Come on.
The men would probably.
Amy,
No.
Lieutenant, you do know.
And that's when the
I'm
cognitive
sorry, I
dissonance
disagree.
comes
I'm
in.
sorry,
and
I disagree. There's some
There aren't-
incredible women
agreed,
leading
but there-
strategic
agreed,
battles
but there
right
aren't-
now
there
today.
are- agreed.
Today.
But there
In fact, the
aren't-
Navy is led by
Right.
a woman today.
I agreed, but there's
Today.
but
the
there's
chief of staff.
right. But my point is,
And
there,
it goes
there
down.
aren't enough.
chief
There
of
aren't,
staff.
Keep going down the ranks.
right, but
keep going
there
down the ranks.
aren't. By comparatively, there aren't enough of like there
Hand-to-hand
aren't-
combat, men would win.
Okay, right, but there aren't enough like female tank commanders that went to NTS and
We
fucking.
didn't get the opportunity
Okay,
to even
so
go.
but that's okay, right? But that's the point is there aren't enough women to where you'd be
At
able
this
to
point
pull
in
that
time,
up.
yeah.
Well, let's just take it to the next level. Let's assume there was, and it was totally equalized. The force was equalized as far as you had all the same resources, the exact number of women to men, the exact same amount of technology. You still think women would even have a chance?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
they have a chance.
Well,
so
that's
let me-
when the cognitive
Absolutely.
dissonance gets to
Yeah,
the
let me
point
give a
where I just
I mean,
disconnect.
we went to the moon because of a woman.
No, we did not
What?
go to the moon because of a woman.
There was
Math, that's
women-
ridiculous.
No.
It's the most ridiculous
It's not
shit.
ridiculous
Where
at
did-
all.
Okay,
It's
so
not ridiculous at all.
this is kind of my wheelhouse. What specifically are you talking about? We went to the moon because of a woman. What specifically do you want?
The
A chick did
whole
the math.
bunch of mathematicians that were behind that.
So there was an office of astrodynamics,
Yeah,
if
and
you
this
will.
is where you're losing me. You don't need to make fun. You can educate me. You don't need to make fun.
There were 600,000 people that worked on Gemini.
Of course.
And 98% of them were men.
But again,
Yes.
because
Right.
men would not let women go
Correct.
into the positions that they
Correct. But
rightfully deserve to go
we didn't
into.
land on the moon because of
No.
specifically because of a woman. Now there were some like calculations that had to be redone, especially like during Apollo 13. And yes, in that office of the women were literally called calculators. That's what
Yeah.
the name of them were. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I'm not trying to disparage them because obviously I'm a big fan
Yeah.
of anybody who did that in the moon landing. But the reality of the situation is it wasn't the majority. It wasn't
Well, I
even
didn't
1%.
say that. I
okay.
didn't, and I probably overgeneralized
Yeah.
when I said that. But I'm just saying, like, and by the way, I was the first person on this show to say that I definitely agree that we need men and men are amazing and all of these other things. Like, so I just want to clarify, I'm not like pulling some like
But you was also
feminism
the first
movement.
person that said that disagreed when I said that women need guidance, and this further proves my point, right? Because women tend to prioritize. You got your prioritizations messed up. You tend to prioritize what's good instead of what's best, right? So this conversation that we're having, you're saying that, well, women can do this. Well, women can do this. They can be good. You said that, well, yeah, you lifted or did something and you met a standard that an 18-year-old met, right? An 18-year-old boy. Well, okay,
When
good.
I was a 17-year-old
okay, great,
girl,
but that's
yeah.
good. But that's not what's best to do. And men just happen to be better at the job. Not only that, let me ask you all the questions. Show of hands real quick, right? So, are y'all pro-woman? Who's pro-women?
Absolutely.
Anyone pro-women?
I love
Pro
women.
women?
Women are great.
Women are great.
Pro-women.
Yeah,
and
but
we would
not
all agree. The
feminists.
males would agree with this. So, but it's kind of funny how can you be pro-woman, but you would want a woman to go into a war zone and risk everything? Risk everything. That doesn't even make sense.
You're
That's
pro-woman,
very
she has the right to
nonsensical.
do it. You're saying pro-woman, you're advocating for her, to supporting her in whatever decision she makes. That's how we're
And
pro-woman.
now you're bringing up
Yeah,
rights.
Yeah, now
and
you're
that's-
bringing up rights, and that's an entirely
saying
different conversation with
supporting
men
her.
grant
A
rights.
decision. I'm saying strictly a
That's right.
decision. You're supporting a decision. That's being pro-woman.
Yeah,
I'm not
no,
talking about
no.
legalities.
Yeah,
I'm talking about pro-woman.
okay, so pro-woman so they can go into a war zone and get their head blown off. That's
If
very
that's what they
nonsensical.
choose
I mean,
to
I
do.
literally
So you
did
would
that.
want women to choose something that would
I didn't
kill
say I want
them?
them to. I said you are support. You asked who supports women.
No, but this is what
That
I'm
is the
saying. You
support.
have to be able to differentiate things. You're saying that you are pro-woman, but then you want women to enlist into the military. It makes no sense. How can you be pro-woman?
No,
You
I
still want to
disagree.
protect women.
I disagree with you there, my friend, because like I absolutely think women should serve a minimum of 2 years, like many other countries do. There's so many incredible essential roles that could be that they could fulfill.
But
through
those countries' fighting
passions.
forces are underwhelming in comparison to our volunteer force. And our volunteer force is mostly of 18 to 23-year-old males. And they are extremely skilled at their jobs.
And so are the women.
They're also very physically fit. This is the big
So
thing.
are the women.
If you have tanks, and tanks are in a big fight with each other,
I have to
right?
disagree with you on the mostly of physically
So
fit.
are
I
the women.
completely disagree with you.
They're
Our
far
force
more
is getting,
physically fit than
that.
they're far more physically fit than the females who are in the military. Yes,
There are a lot of
Across the
shitbag
board.
men,
Wait a second.
too.
We weren't talking about genders just a
There are
second
lot
ago.
of-
No, I was actually bringing this back to say, let's just say you had tanks, just, I don't know, 2,000 tanks on both sides, an all-female versus all-male army.
Who's to say my tank can't blow your tank?
Yeah,
right
okay,
out?
hang on, let me finish.
I'll blow your tank up.
I get it. You blow the tank up.
But
who's going to lift up the big, heavy-ass shell?
I actually think that all the women
Who's going to lift the big, heavy-ass shell?
It's not that
Can you lift something up? And you're going to take
so,
lift
real
the
quick.
heavy-ass shell.
I have.
Wait, time out. Stop. Amy, the issue is while I understand your argument, you're making the argument from like you're basically Shaquille O'Neal telling us to all be tall. Like
Right.
you're so far outside the norm. Congratulations. I'm not saying it's bad, but you understand
the
most
exception
women,
Not really,
most women are not
have
going to
a
be able to do
standardized
what it
test
is that you were
pass
able to
in
do.
order to be in the
Going back to what
military.
you said before, there's been thousands of SEAL candidates. There have been 18 women to go through SEAL training, and one in 2001 made it through. And because of that, her identity is classified.
Okay, one.
One. Now, I guarantee you if I met her, I'd be able to tell which one it was. I guarantee you if I saw her, but you went through fucking, I guarantee you if I met her, I'd be like, you're the one. You're the fucking SEAL.
But my point is like even just doing the grind maintenance requirements for like let's put this tread back on while we're in the field. Let's carry these really heavy shells up this hill by the 100. All of those are also physical requirements of soldiers. And while you may be an exception to the rule, generally speaking, men are going to be far better suited for that role.
I guarantee
which means
I
that
can
they
lift
would,
more than you can.
Which means that ultimately, even if you could, what the fuck would that have to do with anything?
Because you're making a general statement that a
Because
man
we're
can
talking
do it,
about a general statement.
But I know, but you're saying just because a man, you suck, literally,
Okay.
like from head to toe.
Great argument.
Like I guarantee you, I can lift more than you.
Is it?
can.
I got another super chat here. I want to know if this is true. Rusty Fuel says
You got me.
Israel tried using women in combat, but they stopped because they took too many casualties.
They were killing it. I was following that story for a while. They were really doing an amazing job.
Can we talk about a statistic real quick?
Okay. Yeah.
So we're talking about like having the same
I
resources,
think it was
men
Ukraine.
versus women, right? So like we have tanks on this side and then men have tanks on this side. So the average ASVAB score for a man is 47. The average ASVAB score for a woman is 50.
It's
So
true,
we are
yeah.
technically smarter.
It's not that.
Can be more strategic.
Time out. What you're doing is you're selecting for a select few group of women who, do you understand, most women don't have the audacity to join the military in the fucking first place.
Yeah.
It's about 8% of women.
Oh, you're talking about drafting women.
Talking about the end of the curve,
So
too.
this is the result. The result is smarter, more assertive women will then want to join the military, and that's why you're going to get that. Of course, like the thing is also the standards as far as ASVAB scores. If you want to be an 11 Bravo, no offense, guys, I love you guys.
Lowest
I love
score,
you guys.
lowest score.
But 11 Bravos, you don't have to have a fucking high score because
Yeah.
you carry a rucksack and a fucking M4. That's the reason why. So
Yeah,
that
just to elaborate on my point before that I made, right? I said that are you pro women? And the guys, of course, raise their hands as we should because we are pro women. But some women raise their hands that they are pro women, but then also had disagreements with the super chat. So think about it. I would say that men are more pro women than men are more pro women than women are because we are looking to protect you. You argued and said choice, right? So now you're looking at we got to differentiate the two. So choice, you said, well, we want women to have choice. Well, I'm saying that men, we protect women, right? So let me ask you a question. Do you have a kid?
No.
You don't have a kid. Let's say if you did have a kid, right? You birthed this kid you had this kid in your belly for 9 months. You took this kid through, elementary school, and now they're in middle school. Throughout those years that you've raised that child, right? What would you be prioritizing? Their choice or protecting them from their bad choices?
When they are of an age where they can't make a decision for themselves and they can't fend for themselves, I think it's pretty obvious that you're making their choices for them.
No.
I feel
That's
like
not my
you're
question. Let me rephrase this.
relating
That's not my
women to being
question.
children.
I'm
Right,
saying
exactly.
no. Well, it's really
When we're definitely
a
not.
relatable topic. Women tend to be similar to children, is what I'm pretty
David,
much what I'm
you
saying.
do a really good
certain
job
aspects.
of invoking emotion and
No,
stirred up a little bit.
Yeah,
And
No,
it's
no,
it's
no.
the condescending tone that you swear
shouldn't-
you don't have.
He's really good at
Oh,
doing
that you
y'all
have.
back to the beginning podcast.
No,
is because
while
y'all
you're-
wrong.
while you're calling
How's
us
it wrong? You're
children.
asking me an
Great exchange.
opinion.
This was a great
Hold on.
exchange.
If you ask
Exactly
an
what he wanted
opinion,
from
you
you.
cannot tell me I'm wrong. Period.
No.
If you ask me a question, I give you my
proved
opinion.
my point.
You can't say no.
So listen, you're actually
Okay.
proving my point here, right? So what I'm saying is that men are more pro women than women are,
And he's
because
talk
if
to you
you
in a
want
nice and slow
Right.
voice so that you sound like a crazy bitch.
Right.
Okay,
Now
that's
I'm
great.
the
Sounds
overly
like a rational
emotional.
male.
Yeah, great. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You're the
let me
crazy
finish
girl,
my
so-
sentence here, right? So what I'm saying is that men are more pro women
I'm gonna
than
let you
women
finish,
are.
but
just
I'm gonna let you
because-
finish, but
yeah, great. But and the facts is that what I'm stating here is because you said that we are pro woman because we want women for choice. We want women to have choice. I'm saying that's nonsensical, because if you had a child, you wouldn't be wanting your kids. You would be like, wait, don't touch that stove. That's hot. What is that? What is that?
At the end of the day, you're talking about two separate things. I'm
No, that's
talking
not two
about
separate
adults that
things.
can make their own decisions.
And I
we
just
are
gotta
not
tell you-
talking about animals or children or things that need to be protected because they don't know better.
You're assuming
Two
all men
different
want to
things.
So,
protect,
no,
and that is
it's-
not why a lot of men join the
it's an
military. I can
example.
promise you that. A
It's
lot
a
of men
bad
join
example.
the military.
No, it's not a bad
It's a
example.
bad example.
It's a very
It's
fair
a bad
example.
example that leads nothing but for us to say something that makes us look dumb.
No, wrong.
It is a push of the narrative that you want for us to agree with you, even though what we're saying has nothing to do with what you're saying.
And this is coming from a guy who thinks he's going to choose his daughter's husband.
Okay,
So.
Right, 'cause she has to be in love with him, and it's gonna last forever.
You're not listening to understand.
daughter's
Me and you having this conversation. You said that. Well, guess what? Well, I want women to have choice, and choice
I didn't
is more.
say any of that. You
That is
asked-
what you said.
No.
Can we
you
rewind
asked-
it? Can we?
You asked, raise show of hands of people pro women. I agreed. I am pro
And
woman.
then guess what I said?
And
I said, so then
the
why
choice.
would you want women to go to war? You said because of choice. I said that, well, men are more pro women is because we want to protect women.
Not
right?
all men. Not all men.
This
a
is
lot of
what
men
we're
that
arguing
a lot
for.
of men join the military.
Can
for
I
other
use a
reasons.
different example that's like David's? The situation with Lindsey Hill and Trevor Bauer, or the situation with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. In those situations, I was fucking livid when I saw that this woman, because I work with domestic abuse charities, when these women went there and said that their men hit them when they didn't. But why am I the one who's angry about this? Who should be angry about this are women. Women should be so much more angry about the Amber Heard situation than men should be, because they sat there and say, well, believe all women. Well, how can we believe all women now? She shit on his bed. You can't, let's just be real. Like that's how crazy it is. When women, like the thing with Lindsey Hill, complete, total made up, and Trevor Bauer lost 300 MLB games because this woman lied about him. And that the whole thing is what he's saying to what he's saying before. Who should really be mad about this? Whose cause has been set back by women lying? Is it my cause? No, it's women's cause. And that's the point. Women should be more upset about this than men are.
Bad seed women and there's bad seed men, and that's not the argument at hand. The argument or the discussion at hand was, should we be pro women? And all I said was for a woman to have the choice.
Right. So now I'm comparing choice to protection, right? So choice is free will. Oh, well, we all got free will that God granted us with. Pretty much, can do whatever we want, right? So as part as a man, the reason why I compared it to a parent, because a parent needs to protect their kid. The reason why so a man needs to protect the women, right? Needs to protect women. So what I'm saying is that men are more pro women than women are, is because we literally have a natural proclivity to protect you, which you're just prioritizing choice. I'm prioritizing protection. So I am more pro women than you are.
I think you're maybe part of like a group of men that have that mindset, but I promise you, I was a recruiter for the military for 6 years. That is not the reason a lot of men join the military. Some men join the military because the judge says, hey, you did a really bad thing. You got a choice. You can go to jail or you can get in the military. Some men join the military because their dads beat the shit out of them and they just want to go prove that they're tougher than their fathers. So it's nothing to do.
We're not talking about the joining.
We're
We're not speaking about the joining. We're arguing.
You were talking about that because you said, going back to the pro women thing, you're saying that men are more pro women than women are because you have this drive to protect, and that conversation stemmed directly from being in the military and serving in the military. That was
joining
is
what I'm saying is we're arguing against women even joining the military.
I'm not arguing for that.
You're arguing against that, and me and him is arguing for that. Women shouldn't be in the military.
Yeah, well.
You want to do the next clip?
Yeah, you want to do that one?
Except as support roles.
I want to come back to that. I want to come back to the protection thing in a minute, but we got to get to this one, or I'll be.
And feminism broadly is the pushing of an egalitarian society based around the equality of men and women.
Is that the most generous definition that you give it?
That's the most generous one I could possibly give.
So you don't you don't think that, I'm assuming you don't think that men and women are equal, correct?
No.
Okay. Which is,
I'm sorry. Does Farrah have her own personal slave there to
Is she
give
massaging
her a
her?
massage?
No, Rollo, can you start the clip again? I did not hear anything he said in the beginning.
All right, let me push it back. There you go.
Feminism to me, and feminism broadly, is the pushing of an egalitarian society based around the equality of men and women.
Is that the most generous definition that you give it?
That's the most generous one I could possibly give.
so you don't you don't think that, I'm assuming you don't think that men and women are equal, correct?
No.
Okay. Which is okay.
No,
You're allowed
I don't.
to.
I don't think
it's okay.
I don't think that egalitarianism is true. I don't think that equality is real. I don't think any of those things are true. I don't think any
Do you
of them
think
are true.
equality should be real?
No.
You think who do you think is?
I don't think. Well, I don't even think it's possible. You want me to tell you how? Farah knows. Farah knows what I'm about to say, but I'll tell you. I can tell you how. I can tell you how men and women can't be equal. You want me to tell you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you are to look at force in society, who would you say has the monopoly on force, men or women?
Men on brute men.
The monopoly. I'm just talking about the monopoly.
Easily over they're the stronger.
I feel like things are set up for men, but
Can you indicate a time in history, ever, in the history of all of mankind, where men didn't have the monopoly on force?
On force, as in physical force, though, correct? Always, they're
physical
always stronger
force.
than
Yeah.
us.
Oh, then yeah.
That's the biology.
They have the monopoly on physical force. So the question, when you come down to rights, is who can enforce rights? Women can't enforce their own rights. Men have to enforce women's rights. So there can never be real equality. There can never be real egalitarianism.
what the men fuck? Are. I just.
Okay. Does anybody have any reaction to that specifically?
I have a question. Why has she got this picture with a bodybuilder?
Is that Arnold in his younger days?
That was distracting as fuck.
I think that there's a difference between the quality of men that you're talking about. I feel like you're saying men in general, like all men. There's a difference between Joe Schmo on the street and Michael. Like, Michael takes care of himself, not to gas you up, whatever, but you're a pretty fucking awesome dude.
I appreciate that.
You
Thank
know,
you.
and
I
there's
love
a
you too,
difference
bro.
between you and some dude named John that never works out, that sucks at life, whatever. Like, that's the quality of man that we want, not all men.
I think the decision though was about equality to deal with
it
it,
was
not
a
quality, but
more
equality.
general
Yeah, but also,
equality.
also I want to add to that too. Like you said a couple of things in there. You said that men should control the rights of women. So
Nope.
No, you
I
said
didn't
that.
make a should claim. No.
Well, okay. So then maybe I heard it
I
differently.
made a descriptive is claim. What is true?
Human rights exist only because of men. That's what he's saying.
Okay.
It's not
So
saying
if
that
you
they should control it.
Take a should claim versus an is claim. It's a descriptive versus a prescriptive claim. I'm not prescribing that men take rights away from women. I'm saying what is descriptively true is that men grant women rights.
I feel like someone that
but I
has
feel
such
like Diva.
Let me talk. I feel like someone that has such a ridiculously high ego as you should at least be physically fit.
Okay.
What are you doing?
So anyway,
I just have
argument.
a quick question for you guys. So, as a woman,
I think a woman as bitchy as you should be attractive. But what do you want? Anyway,
Can I just say that you think like everything that you say that you know and all this stuff? Is this why you come in with such an attitude, like making like you're better than us?
yes. Now, can we get back to the argument?
Okay, let's just agree not to insult each
Like,
other.
if you guys didn't come at
So
we disagree
listen,
about something,
Loretta,
that
hey,
has
look,
nothing to
here's
do
the
with
situation.
anything.
This guy is a professional debater. Like he will stomp people. That's the way he communicates. He's only interested in the content, not the context.
Totally,
And if the context gets misaligned, then you don't have to say things about like him needing a pedicure or making
gives
fun
us
of
a
it.
bad look and it makes us women look
but that
bad.
doesn't give you a green light
you're-
to be disrespectful.
You are being that girl.
That
right
doesn't
now.
give you a green light to be disrespectful.
What did I
It
do that
doesn't.
was disrespectful? I was just answering your question. You came at me.
Yeah.
I'm just going
I
to
didn't
shift
come
the
at anybody.
conversation back to the topic at hand. I just have a genuine question. So, as a woman who is completely single, I'm not dating, I'm not seeing anybody, there is zero besides my father and my family, there is zero constant male figure.
Slide in the DMs, gentlemen. Slide in the DMs.
Okay. And so I'm a career woman. I have my own business. I have my own show. Like, I've built everything myself. I got my own MBA. Like, I did everything I needed to structure my life. I need my rights. I need to be able to vote, to work, I need to do all of this stuff, because otherwise I'm just flailing in the wind by myself with to your point, I don't have a leader. I don't have someone leading my home or my family. That's me.
Sure.
That's me.
But can we get back to the descriptive claim of whether or not men are the grantors of rights to women? That's the claim.
I didn't disagree or anything with that.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, like, in the scenario, because I would love a perfect society where, every woman's got a man and they're secure in that relationship. And he's all the things that I think you're saying that would be healthy for the balance of men and women. I don't disagree in a perfect society. But unfortunately, the reality is we don't have a perfect society. And there's women like me who have to be on their own until I find a partner that's a worthy partner that can be all the things that you're describing.
Sure.
So,
but you generally don't make prescriptive claims for society based on outliers. You usually take the general pool, and then you make the prescription based on the general pool, knowing full well that can't ever accommodate everybody. That's an impossibility. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about what should we do, the should part of this, what ought we do, I'm guessing you would think we ought to do things which are the most beneficial for the most amount of people. Mm. Is that correct?
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, if that's what you're speaking to, then we can clearly look at times, even in American history, where our prescriptions for society clearly benefited far more people. And this was even pre-suffrage for women. Seemingly, they lived much healthier lives. We didn't have a birth rate crisis. Almost everything across the board, pre-egalitarianism, was better in American life than post-egalitarianist feminism. And that's what the claim is.
And back to what you were saying that, you pretty much stating that you're a successful woman and you're single and stuff like that. How old are you?
34.
34 years old. And were you ever married before?
No.
What was your longest relationship?
4 years.
4 years? Mm-hmm. Okay. And when was that?
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've been single in a dating market for 5 years.
Yeah, but I mean, like I was telling you guys earlier, I had like a really devastating breakup where I was just about to get married, and it like kind of ruined my whole healing around
you broke up with him?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that does suck. And pretty much what I'm saying here is that that goes back to my point that you tend to have a point of contention with in the beginning of the podcast, but now you seem like you came towards it with women need guidance, right? And this is why these two guys do this podcast, right? I believe this is one of the reasons, correct me if I'm wrong, because women need guidance, right? So you're 34 years old and you're single. You've been single for 5 years, right?
But I just want to clarify, I don't agree with your statement that in general, all women need guidance, because like I'm doing really well on my own.
Do you think that you're doing well on your own, but you're 34 and you're single?
But at this point, that's a very defined choice of mine.
That's a defined choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So are you celibate?
Yeah. I mean, you could say that at this point.
How long have you been celibate for?
I mean, a while.
Oh, okay, a while. So that means that someone is sliding in between them soul gaps and smacking it around every now and then.
Okay, first of all,
that's what that means.
Hold on, no. You don't just don't. Wait. No, there is no, sir. You do not get. What did I told you?
No one is disrespecting you.
You literally just talked to me like I was a 304.
Since you've been single.
No, the way you just described that is completely inappropriate. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Can you even repeat that back? Slap me around. I'm sorry. The way.
No. I think you misunderstood what he said. He was using a euphemism. He didn't say slap you around. He just said like have fun having sex with you.
Sliding in, and the way you described it, sir, so I am not a 304.
Okay.
No one is saying that any man that has sex with a woman, he is sliding in between them soul gaps and smacking and flipping things around.
That's exactly what you said.
That's how it is. Men dominate during sex.
Like the conversation is over when you disrespect me that way, because I am not
disrespecting you. No one is disrespecting you.
The way you just said that is so disrespectful to me.
Once again, you're feeling a lot of negative emotions like the beginning of the podcast.
Correct, because you don't talk to a woman like that.
Well, I do.
You don't. Well, and then there's no conversation, because you're not going to speak to me like that.
You're trying to twist it.
sir, you're
speaking
not going
about
to speak
not
to
your
me like
current.
that.
I'm speaking about what you spoke about. You said that,
Complete
well,
narcissism.
Gaslighting. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
gaslighting.
Like,
Okay, great.
you
great.
No,
took
you're not
something
going to speak to me like that.
took
I'm
his
not
bacon
going to
and
speak to me like
totally
that.
took
woman
his
at
bacon
this
and
table would
Ready? Here we go.
That
Time out.
was
We're gonna
respectful.
do like this. We're gonna go David first, and then Amy can respond. Go ahead,
Yeah,
David.
let me clear it up real quick before I get all emotional, right? So I'm just saying this, and this is why I ask these questions. This is not anything malicious at all, right?
This is why I walked out.
So I'm saying that women need guidance, and you're saying that you're not one of those women that need guidance. And I ask you these probing questions to see if, well, you're 34, you're single, you've been single for 5 years. Well, you're saying that you don't really need a man.
Didn't she say
stuff
she
like
does
this.
want a man for guidance? Didn't you say that earlier?
If I could find a quality
Yeah.
male, which
She just
unfortunately there is none.
Okay, so let me finish. I'm trying to help you out. This
But
is
not
not
by
avoid
talking to me the way you're talking to me
being
to.
I
between
don't
the
have
guts
to
and all that.
avoid
Yeah,
anything.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't know why
avoiding
you're
anything. This is how I speak.
That's all
okay?
you- all
This
you
is
have
how
to
I
work in.
speak,
It doesn't
ladies.
work in this context.
Okay, great.
In Philly, this is like a compliment.
We're not in Philly.
Absolutely
I'm
not.
just kidding.
Absolutely not.
So, all right. So, basically, what I'm saying is, right. So, you've been single for 5 years, and you're 34 years old, and you're saying that, well, I don't need any guidance. My point is, what I'm saying is, here's why you need guidance. Just let me finish my sentence, right? The reason why you need guidance is because you're single and you're 34 and
You're
still
saying that like
having
it's a
sex
bad
with-
thing, though.
God dang! Can I finish a sentence? Let
God
me get one
dang!
in.
You're saying it
Let me
like
get
it's a
one-
bad thing.
Let me
Being
get
34
one
and single,
sentence
why
in.
is that a
Let
bad
me get
thing?
one sentence in. Back to you, right? We're just gonna ignore her for a little bit because she over
You
there
are a
wilding.
complete narcissist,
Anyways,
and you're
right?
gaslighting her.
No, I'm speaking to
completely
her
right now.
I'm speaking
I
to
think
her.
you should just shut up.
Just hold on. Let him
This is
finish speaking, and then
textbook.
you
Yeah,
guys
literally,
can
I can't get a
seriously
sentence
just let him move on.
Responses.
You want to move on?
No, I keep going.
Okay, cool. So all I'm saying is this, right? The reason why you need guidance from a man is because you said that you're 34 and you're single, but you're still having sex with men. Now, you may have been celibate for 2 weeks, 3 months, or whatever you've been doing, right? But that means that you chose a man to sleep with at some point in time during you were single, and that dude didn't meet the requirement of a relationship for you because you had sex with him and then you got rid of him, right? Or he got rid of you, whatever it was. So I'm saying that you need guidance from a man because guess what? There's certain characteristic traits that you can look for in a man. You said in the beginning of the podcast, well, Cooley, I wish it was more men out there like the guys that you speak about, right? I'm saying that there are men out there, and I'm telling you of traits, of how you could find these traits in a man and actually get what you want, which is why you need guidance, and I'm guiding you right now. So now let me tell you how these traits in a man like me and masculine men that you could find a masculine leader that can protect and provide for you and give you a future. So here's some traits of the man, right? Some of these traits is being decisive. A man needs to be decisive. One little pointer to see if a man isn't decisive when you're first texting him. He's like, hey, guess what? You know what you want to do? He's asking you what you want to do. He can't really plan a date. He's asking you what you want to eat and stuff like this. A decisive man is telling you this. Hey, baby girl, be ready at 8. We going here. We doing this. Boom, boom, boom. This is what we looking for. So that's one green flag you can look for in a man that has his stuff together. I'm giving you guidance of what you need. Another trait. You ready for more?
Well, I didn't ask you for the advice, period.
Well,
number one.
Well, you're getting the guidance of what we're talking about. I'm making you
The
your point.
unsolicited guidance.
Yeah.
Listen to his unsolicited
I didn't ask for any of that.
Okay, well, great.
Yeah.
You didn't ask for it, but you need it because you're 34 and you're single and you're still having sex
you're
with men and not
assuming-
getting what you
you're
want.
assuming-
You said that you want these masculine men. Yo, David, I wish it was more men like you spoke about. There's not many. Well, the reason why you think that there's not many is because you don't have the ability to retain them. You can
know
you can
nothing
attract
about
them.
me.
They'll only smash you, but then they'll dash you. So you can
Yeah,
attract
sir,
them, but
you-
you can't retain these men.
I think
That's
we
a
need
fact.
to move
Why are you
on.
so angry?
I think we
I'm
need
not
to move
angry.
on
I'm
because this
speaking
is
with
going
passion.
nowhere.
Chill out.
Yeah, no, sir, you're giving me unsolicited advice, and
Okay,
you don't know me
unsolicited
or
advice.
my
Well,
dating. You don't know how I
here's why you
communicate
need
with men,
guidance, and you
etc.
don't want to take the guidance. Fair enough.
I
Rollo,
didn't
what
ask
got,
you for
man?
guidance.
What if the
I
women
didn't
at
ask
this
you for
table
guidance.
like thought that your guidance was just like trash? Like we're just like this
Trash.
guy
Why you need
is
guidance?
just like I would never listen
Yeah,
to this
that's
guy.
true narcissism
let me,
right
let me
there.
see if I can insert something here because what you're saying and what you're saying is two different things here. When we're talking about, I think one of the reasons why women end up in a situation where like I don't trust men. I don't, like we just watched the very first video that was on here. We don't need men. Don't need men. Nobody need men. When I was on Dr. Phil, I told Dr. Phil that there's an overwhelming, let's just say zeitgeist, right? There's this overwhelming like atmosphere that men are superfluous right now. And I had to explain to him what superfluous meant. But meaning like they're nice to have around, but they're not absolutely necessary because I make my own damn money. I went to college. I went and I got my own damn business together. I got my own money. And then they get to be 34 and they go, well, where are all the good guys? But the problem is that up to that point, when you get into your mid 30s, and you're looking at guys who aren't going, or you said a worthy man. You want to submit your life to a worthy man, not just any old motherfucker, but a worthy guy who's got his shit together, who makes more money than you, probably more educated than you, probably taller than you, probably more physically impressive, like at least in some way, so that you can look up to that guy.
100%.
Okay, you cannot, women cannot look up to a man that is their equal. So the guy has to be at least this much better than you are on that scale.
100%.
So the problem is that women have become the men that they want to marry at this stage. So they can't find those guys anymore. And so what happens is they have that fear, that instinctive, insecure fear that they're never going to be able to find that guy. And so what do? They try to ensure their security because they are the vulnerable sex. They try to ensure that security by becoming men, by becoming the guy that they wanted to marry. And that, I think, is probably the number one problem that women face today, is the fact that they fear that if they get with the guy, he's going to cheat, he's going to leave, he's going to fuck his secretary, I'm going to invest all of my sexual capital and all my agency and all my life into this guy. And there's always that outside chance that he's going to leave once he gets paid, right? Once he wins the lottery, once he makes partner in the law firm, once he becomes a surgeon, when he becomes a winner, I'm going to be the loser, because the things that made me attractive to him prior to all of this, those are a depreciating asset at this point. So what happens is women try to ensure their long-term security by themselves. And the guys that's one of the reasons I think women are so frustrated, because average women don't want to get with average men today, because they can't be as paid as you. They can't be as educated as whatever else that you made yourself. So we're looking at a generation of women who are fearful that that those guys are going to leave, or there's something's not going to work out for them. And so therefore, once they've got all that security, then they find that they can't get the guys that they're hoping they're going to get, the worthy guys that they would want to submit their lives to.
Yeah.
That's the number one problem that women have right now.
Holy shit, Rollo, did I just agree with you on something?
No, it's so true.
No, sir.
Now, more to your point, I'm going to read something that's from my fourth book here real quick, because this is from a chapter called Big Head Babies, okay? Big Head Babies is the reason why women are the vulnerable sex is because they are the incubators of the next generation. And so when you say women need guidance, I agree with you that women need guidance. I agree in the fact that men think that they need to give women guidance. And because of the state that we're in right now, where women are so fearful that they need to ensure their own security, men still want to give that guidance, and women are like, get the fuck out of here. I already made my money. I already got my
100%.
education. I've already become the motherfucker that I was hoping to marry, who could give me guidance, but I can't find a guy like that. So I'll give myself the guidance, because I can't find any dude that's worthy of my time or whatever.
But to your and Michael's point, because you guys talk about this a lot, like the pool of candidates for me. Listen, I'm 5'9". Number
I was going to say this. So
right?
100. So you want someone who's taller than you.
Yeah.
So 6 feet
You say
tall
it
and
the
100K.
best. Yeah.
So 6 feet tall is 14% of men. 100K a year is 17% of men.
Right.
So if you want 6 feet tall and 100K,
it's a funnel.
It's not 14% or 17%. It's 14% science.
Let me just run through this real quick. So human females are weak and inefficient physically compared to men. Okay, so for much of with their ancestral lives, they were carrying around one or more weak, delicate offspring, children. Right? You had to, because they're human babies take a long time to gestate. They take a long time to reach self-sufficiency. They need female mothers, mature, for nurturing, for feeding, for just for guidance in general. And so women tend to not be able to run. They can't fight because they're taking care of children. They need men to join the military, to be able to fight, to be able to be physically fit, to have a upper body strength. And if you look at just the physique side of things, men physically evolved to be animals of war. If you look at our bone structure, if you look at the hemoglobin in our bloods, there's a whole list of
there's a great body
characteristics
great book
for
on
that.
this.
Yeah. So unlike females, other species, they're constantly dependent on males to protect, feed, and care for them, because they're constantly having to nurture those children. Okay. Essentially, they are.
Isn't that still the case?
No. Well, here, let me see. Essentially, women are permanent children in the sense that they acquire by proximity some of the fragility and importance of humanity's very expensive children. So, if you have a weak child and you have the woman there who's caring for the child, and there's no one to protect it, well, who's going to protect? The male is going to protect that child. So, how do you prevent the males from tyrannizing these women? To the detriment of the species, by imbuing males with the same protective instincts towards them that women have towards children. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying women are children. I'm just saying the instinct is that they're seeing as that
treat them like children.
Yeah,
to
protect, to guide, to provide, to be parentally invested, to be provisioning, protection, and parental investment. Those are the three like beta qualities, right? Okay, so then there's how do you prevent them from exploiting that How do you protect them from men from exploiting that protective instinct and take the advantage from males or from making them unprotectable by ignoring male guidance, by imbuing women with the same instinctive obedience towards men that children have towards women, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. Well, just the funnel, the whole point of me bringing up the funnel was like, because I've already done it all for myself at this point, like somebody coming to me and saying, I'm going to give you guidance. It's like, bro, you're a little too late to the game in terms of guidance. Like in terms of like dating, when someone's, wants to take me out on a date, that's the first thing I'm looking for is how do you come to ask me for a date? Like, are they prepared? Do they have it together? Like all of the stuff that you think you're going to tell me, I already have it down.
Let me ask you one question, all right? So the guy that you last had sex with that didn't grant your relationship because men grant relationships and women grant sex.
Okay, you're wrong there.
Well, that is a fact. But
It's
anyways, so the guy that you had sex with, right?
I'm not going to talk to you about any of that.
No, that's fine. I'm asking you. So you said one thing when I said that, hey, Cooley, I wish that there were more, masculine dominant men that can protect and provide for women. That's a good thing. But they're very hard to find.
Yeah,
so now I'm
small
asking
percentage
you
of the funnel.
that last guy that you had sex with, right? Was he one of those masculine dominant guys, or was he one of those ones that you settled for a dude that just raised you up?
Yeah, I just told you a few minutes ago, I'm not going to talk to you about that. And again, I'm going to discontinue all conversation with you. If you use statements like ridge me up, absolutely not.
Charisma.
Yeah.
That's what charisma means.
Sorry, I thought you said something different. Riz, I know exactly what that is. Yeah, but
so
it's not what I thought you said.
Yeah, so let's finish this conversation real fast. So pretty much I'm saying the last guy you had sex with.
I already told you I'm not talking about that.
No. This is what I'm saying. It's just answer this. Was he the type of guy that I spoke about in the beginning of the podcast, or was he not that type of guy?
What I'm telling you, I'm not talking to you about.
So then that means that he wasn't that type of guy.
I just said I'm not responding.
Great. So that means that he wasn't that type of guy. So what I'm saying is that man raised you up.
I already asked you to stop.
That's a fact. So here's some guidance. I'm gonna give you more guidance. I don't even care what you're saying right now. So here's some more guidance.
She's literally asked you to shut up like 10 times.
Great. So here's some more guidance. No,
you can talk to the group because I'm not talking to you.
You should want to hear this, right? So the reason why you were rizzed up by that guy is because you prioritize the wrong traits in the man. Okay,
you want to hear yourself.
You prioritize the wrong traits in the man, right? So guess what? Women are more emotional, right? So guess what? You didn't look for the things that I told you to look for in the beginning, like a man being indecisive and things like that. What you did look for is, is he charismatic? Is he charming? So that's why you let this dude slide in between your soul gaps, smack it and flip it around. And you gave sexual access to a dude that didn't grant your relationship. This is why you're 34 and you're single. This is why you need guidance, which I'm giving you now. I'm literally telling you how to actually get the men that you want, but you don't want to listen to that.
Why is being 34 and single a bad thing?
She's ready to plead the fifth. I understand what you're saying. She's ready to plead the fifth.
Why is being 34 and single a bad thing?
Okay, so it's not that.
But you're saying it. You're saying it. It's like,
but what he's saying is she still is looking for someone.
She's still looking.
So bad, maybe not bad, comparatively bad, but it's like I want a thing. I want to have a company worth $10 billion, but I don't have it. I still want that thing. So if somebody wants to give me guidance to get there, I know this is a
But let me
weird
tell
metaphor.
you, a man that talks to a woman like this would never make that cut. So
right, it's I'm about not like caliber.
He's
like I said, I'm not.
He's an excellent content creator. He's creating content. We're going viral.
I'm not trying to smash.
Human decency goes away because you're not trying to smash her.
It's literally
respect goes out the door.
You don't get the fuck.
No, he's just trying to make content. He's trying to get click-throughs. He's trying to get
diagnosed.
You have to look at the full picture, though.
Let me get you a super chat here. Infinity Singularity Premise one:
not at all.
human abilities and contributions vary widely. Premise two: meritocracy towards these differences. Conclusion: egalitarianism overlooks merit, hindering progress and fairness. I think that was directed at you, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the argument's not valid because of premise two, but I agree with the conclusion.
Yeah. Society has not changed female nature, but just revealed it. The women on Fresh and Fit are the mouthpiece of what 95% plus think, feel, and believe. And last one: Russian chick is killing it.
There we go. Good job.
There
She's
it is.
Polish,
That's
but
the-
very good.
that's
Here we go. Demon Time Zerk. There's a picture of Zerka here. Shout out to Zerka. I was at RAS for Ranger selection. We had 3 females. Of them, they didn't make it. It's only a very small proportion of regiment that has females. Homie, Robert Flores says, homie, we had 110-pound ruck packs, rifles carrying the 50 cal Ma Deuce in pieces, 50 pounds per part for 25 miles, USMC. And then Demon Time says, special operations, you go through selection is voluntary, so it's a choice. And they don't mind sending women, but the thing is, you have to meet the standard. Coach Dom says she's lying. I was stationed at Fort Campbell, home of the air assault. The Army pushes everyone to attend the school. Women aren't held back. They're placed on a pedestal.
Fort Campbell.
The Army favors women. Siege D says, be sure to read the Access Vegas super chats. You should probably go with those.
I already got them.
Okay, cool.
I got some.
And then Coach Dom, I was deployed to Iraq twice, Afghanistan once. Women are a liability, not an asset. In combat or in leadership roles, the worst leaders were women. Also, Ranger instructors lowered their standard for women. Society lowers the standard for women. Wow, Coach Dom is going ham right there.
Well, the whole argument, as far as I got this other one right here and I can relate to this. Is that female épée fencers can't compete with male épée fencers. Can confirm, even if the sport is about speed and grace. Yes, I know I'm a fencer myself. So, but the problem is like that's a reason why we have segregated sports right now. I mean, that's a no-brainer. We don't put male fencers versus female fencers, and we don't put the WNBA in the NBA. I mean, it's the same thing. I don't even think that's an issue at this point.
No.
I also, when it comes to mandatory conscription for women, in support roles for perhaps in combat roles, I might have something to say about that. But what I do know is that women ought to be held to the same standards as men when it comes to selective service. Because when we talk about how I love it because we're going into what is Women's History Month is in March, I believe. Yeah, and. Whenever this rolls around, we always have this same question, like, well, should women be signed up for the selective service? And I'm always going to say yes, because when you look at the penalties for men not signing up for selective services, you literally cannot hold public office. In some states, you can't get a driver's license. I think that it's on a federal crime, it's like $250,000 is the top fee for not signing up for it. And then in some places, you can't vote. You can't become a U.S. citizen if you naturalize U.S. citizen unless if you're 18 and you don't sign up for it.
But that's still an egalitarian mindset.
Well,
So
it is. So in that case, then we need to say, okay, either everybody has to do it or nobody has to do it.
Or you can say you have to do it because you have duty, but you get an additional privilege that they don't get.
You could do that. You could balance it out that way. The other thing is you could also say, well, you know what? No man has to sign up for selective services until a bunch of women do, and enough women do that men did, and then now we're equal. But that's never going to happen. Though.
I agree. You're consistent with the standard, right? You're like, look, if the standard's there for men, it needs to be there for women. I get that. That's totally consistent. I'm just saying that is still a mindset of egalitarianism. I would say, nope, this is an additional duty that men have to do to protect the homeland. So they should get something additional.
Well, that was, and I agree with you because that was actually the first argument, let's just say, against the suffragettes, against suffragists as far as voting was concerned, because they didn't have skin in the game.
At the end of your book that you just read there, it seemed that when you got to the end, where the conclusion was that women are supposed to that's the kind of societal infeed is obey, just like a child obeys. This way you can have reciprocity. That's the part that's failed, right?
Well, the reason why is because because women have become the men that they want to marry, that they want to pair off with as a result of the sexual revolution,
technology.
Women have to eat, do they not? Who's going to pay for her shit?
Yeah.
They have to work. They have to become the man until they find the man. Yeah. And I think that's the issue that Amy is running into. Why she's single for so long.
You never find the man because you become that guy.
Yeah,
and, so
and you
therefore,
repel them because now you're masculine.
Well,
And I think that's the issue that she has.
But you also, the more you become the man that you want to marry, the fewer men can compare to what you've made yourself.
They don't make enough money. They're not educated enough. They're not tall enough.
Because I was entirely too masculine.
Right.
And it's hard to bridge that gap. How do you become soft while also taking care of all of your crap? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you attract that masculine man?
And I'll be the first one to say, I wish it wasn't that way.
It's hard.
But the problem is, and this is, God damn it, this is great. This is exactly what I was trying to relate to fucking Dr. Phil when I was on there too. I'm like, no, the reason is women don't need men. We just saw that the very first video we saw. I don't need no man, but I want a man. Well, what kind of man do you want? Jason Momoa, Jack Reacher, Justin Waller. There's a want for a guy who has that still has that like physical machismo, like the guy who's going to rock your world in bed. But you don't need that guy because anything he could provide, you already provide for yourself. You've already got protection, provisioning, and parental investment, whether it's through the state or whether it's through your own doing or whether it's through education, no matter what. But the problem is the guy that you would want to be with in the long term, those guys become fewer and fewer the more you make yourself into somebody that's a high quality woman. No argument there. But I constantly get this from women where it's like, Rollo, how do I find a good guy? How do I find a good man? And I'm like, you've got to get in touch with get back in touch with your feminine. You got to get feminine energy, for lack of a better term. But you've got to become. It's almost we've come full circle. Yeah. In the 70s, we told men you need to get in touch with your female side. You need to get in touch with your emotions. You need to get in touch with being more female. Now we need to tell the women who've made themselves into the men that they want to marry, get in touch with your female side. It's exactly the same thing that we said. And the problem now is women equate that with, what are you saying? I need to dumb myself down for some ass hat that I don't really want to be with in the long term anyways. Feminizing a woman who's masculinized herself, if you tell her to get in touch with her feminine, they equate that with dumbing themselves down.
Well, and you're talking about a matter of incentives here, right? Mm-hmm. This is really coming down to a matter of incentive. So you're just saying whenever anyone says, how are we going to take care of like the problem with OnlyFans? How are we going to take care of pornography? How are we going to take care of all these, like everyone wants to, whatever is degenerate, right? What are we going to do? Minimize the incentives. That's right.
Take
incentives.
The incentives
take away the incentives.
Take the
but
incentives
to your
away.
point, you're saying just a second ago, you were like, women, don't want to go towards their feminine because it's like dumbing themselves down. For me, it's not that. For me, being feminine and being able to be feminine is a place of vulnerability. And it's one of the reasons why I choose to still be single is because I'm still like not okay even like surrendering my heart or myself, the trust and all of that because of how significant my previous breakup
Absolutely.
was.
I think we all agree.
And I have a perspective
it's
that you
harder
would
for
agree
women
with
to be
too.
vulnerable.
Do you hold grudges long? No? You probably won't hold
longer than 10 minutes.
Stop it. He's trying olive branch.
Trying to piss me off.
Here we go.
No, you're going to agree with this. You're going to agree with this. Trust me.
Okay,
you want to give that before? That's what I'm asking you. Do you hold grudges long?
No, I don't. I don't hold
Okay,
grudges
so let's
long at all.
before I give you this. How
Okay,
about that?
all right.
All right, so because you're going to agree with me, right? So would you agree that a man that wants sex from a woman that can't get sex from a woman, right? And he's doing all of these things wrong, but he wants this like, I'm just, I want this type of girl, right? And what would you say that guy has to do? He has to change his behaviors to get the result he wants, right?
I'm a little lost on where you're going with that.
A man would have to level up to meet your standard.
100%.
Got it. So this is what I'm saying. But not only that, right? So if a man that wanted sex from a woman or a relationship from a woman, he wanted anything from a woman, right? But he can't get it. He's an incel. He's involuntary celibate. You would say that, well, obviously he's doing something wrong, so therefore he must change his behavior to get what he wants. Would you agree with that?
I think so.
Okay, great, right? So now I'm saying this, right? And this is not malicious. This is not an attack on you, right? This is just guidance, right? So you want a certain type of man, right? And that certain type of man that you want, you can attract those men. I'm sure you see them out. They holler at you. They slide in your DMs. You attract them, right? But I'm saying that it's hard for you to retain those men.
No.
So, okay. All right. Well, if you could retain them, then you said that you wanted that man. You wanted pretty much a high value man, right? But obviously they're hard to come by because there's not a lot of them.
I think it's
You're
going in one year and out
now.
of the other because you are not at a caliber at her level to give her that advice that she wants.
You said that
it's
I'm
like
not
valuable.
I think you're assuming that I can't find.
Not find.
Okay.
Not fine. So
or that maybe I'm the one that can't keep them.
No. Listen, very clear.
Okay.
You just agreed. If a man wants a relationship or sex with a woman, but he can't get it, right? He can't find that woman and he can't get it. You agreed that he needs to change his behavior. Granted, right? I'm just saying that you can't find what you want, so you need to change your behavior. So take some of this guidance. God dang.
No.
I can't.
No,
What
I
the-
can't. Yeah.
I
think the way
I
you're
think it's
talking to me
delivery.
is
I
like
think it's delivery because
the way you're talking to me is just so it's like down and like
It is down.
You
That's
just
why
agreed with
everything
something,
is
but
let
you're
me
not,
give you
you don't
guidance,
want
you
to
stupid
agree
little
with it
girl
within
kinda
yourself.
thing.
So that means that your emotions is getting in the way of
No,
logic
sir.
and reason. That's what that
I
means.
got a question. What's your relationship like with your mother?
Well, I choose not to answer. Great.
Okay, well, you asked her very
It's-
personal
okay,
questions,
great.
and she
I can
answered
say that
you.
is great. Let's
What's
go
your
down this
relationship
line.
like with your mother?
It's beautiful.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Do you have a relationship with a woman right now?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm in a relationship.
Oh, well, then she must be really stupid.
Okay, great.
Okay, all right, here we go.
All right.
This
Like,
is
that's why I didn't even want to go down the
We're
line.
not.
You
We're
had
not really
nothing to even
raising.
give.
Love you
It was
guys. We're not
pointless.
raising the level of the conversation here. Let's try this again. Do you want to post
You
this
want me to
last
throw
one?
that last one?
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
Here we go.
Oh,
One
is it
last thing
this
to
one?
react to, and then we can do.
And then
And then we
we'll
can
get
go
out of
after. Allie can talk back to all her haters. Yes.
All right, one second.
Coming for you guys.
Allie, next time you're sitting up here.
I need to
Okay.
watch the comments.
Next time you're sitting up here.
got
Okay. Let's do this.
Here we go.
I want to be passed around so bad, but my boyfriend just wants a monogamous relationship. It's 2024. Expecting to be with one person for your entire life is like unreasonable. I'm a young 18-year-old Latina. I'm trying to get my face blasted by multiple men. Like, I haven't even had a quickie in a bathroom stall. I have so much to live for. And you're telling me that I have to stay with this one guy because I love him so much. But there's literally guys out there with 13-inch meats waiting to destroy me. It would just be so unfortunate if I were to go my whole entire life without getting piped by at least 100 different people just to see who I like the most. I want to be
If this isn't
There
satire,
you
that
go.
is absolutely disgusting, and I do not relate.
Do not condone
you think that
this.
she needs guidance?
That's why they're playing it, because that gets that reaction, so that makes us look dumb.
No. I'm not trying to make you look dumb. I'm just curious if you.
Of course, it's so dumb that it's asinine to even sit there and make us watch it and wait for a response
The
or a
goal
reaction.
is-
I 100%
It's just
agree with that.
absolutely
Responses.
stupid. And you're over here cheering
It's pretty
about
funny.
it.
I don't
And
know,
it's
it's pretty
the
funny.
dumbest video I've ever seen. And I think
that's
anybody with
that's your
common
opinion though.
sense-
That's fine. That's good. That's what I wanted.
Anybody with common sense and a brain would know that what she's saying is disgusting.
She doesn't
Anybody
think it's disgusting.
Even the most
And it's
promiscuous
unfortunate these
girl
girls do that
in
for
this
the
room
views.
would probably tell you that that is not
I'm
the
pretty
norm.
sure she was being sarcastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like,
almost
that's
positive it was a troll video.
I got the troll
But it's
vibe
just
from
not-
Okay, so
Yeah. What's the
my
point of
question was, do you think that's indicative? What she was saying, that's indicative of women at all, or do you think this whole thing? Was
Didn't I
made?
just say that that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my
Okay.
entire
No,
life?
I think women innately they want love. They want to find a partner.
For sure.
Women need to give other women good, solid, strong guidance.
Okay, so here's
Yeah.
the thing.
Needs
Here's
to
the thing.
happen.
She said she wanted a partner. She
Someone
said she
needs
was
to
in
tell her
love with a
that.
guy. She just wanted to have sex with other men.
You know what's funny? Before you go
Yeah.
down that, you just said women should give other women good guidance. I think when you surround yourself with other women who are married or in healthy relationships,
Yes.
almost every time I've seen one of my friends who's single and just out drinking all the time, and she gets closer to me, she almost instantly always finds her partner. It's
Yeah.
just surrounding yourself with the kind of women who have the same goals as you, and that's how women will support women and give each other the guidance that the men keep trying to give them, but we're not really taking it in because of your delivery. And I think a lot
Yes.
of what is being said on your end might be legit. And not say might. It
But that's
is
his
legit.
entire
Same
business,
thing
though.
him. Right. And I get you guys do the videos and you want to get a reaction. You
want them for the real.
They're great for viral.
I literally don't need no reaction.
You're wearing
from you
sunglasses
guys.
inside right now, bro. Like, what are you talking
I
about?
wear sunglasses on my podcast, and it's for a reason. Is because I have a
Okay.
sensitivity level to light.
I
and the
think
kids
you need the
beheaded.
reaction.
That I can
That's
understand.
every
I have a
woman
migraine today too, so I
should
can
get the
understand
views
that.
you need.
However, I think by you surrounding yourself with women that have the same things that you
know-
want and that you admire or have goals for yourself, that might be the guidance and the surrounding factor that might change the kind of men that come
Mike,
around.
you know, there are studies. And I think she's onto
Does
something.
that mean
here, because yeah, you are onto something because there are studies where, like, if there are a couple, like the two married, and one of them gets divorced, it like has a reaction amongst
their friends. Yeah, for sure.
Or if one guy cheats, the other guy cheats.
I'd like to point this out that what an incredible discussion we're having. Wow. Because of the video we just reacted to. I just want to give myself a big round of applause. I thought that was a great video. It did exactly what I wanted.
Let me ask a question on this video. Okay. So let's assume for a second it's not satire. Okay. And she's totally serious. Would you women call her a slut?
I would say that
I would
she's
have no
misguided.
I have no opinion.
Honestly, I don't know what I
At
would
this
have to
table,
say to her.
no.
Yeah, that's too much.
Outside this,
you think, Ali, what you think she's doing is too much?
I would say it was
Ali is saying it is too much.
to
What do you?
vocally say I want to get piped down by 100 guys.
So you would say that she's a whore. That's what he's pretty much asking.
That's what I'm asking.
would
you say?
Ava and Loretta, what do you think? Is that like would you be? Would you like? What would you?
I would not be her
if this were a friend,
I would
would you
not
give her
want
some
to be
different
around
guidance?
her. Yes,
I'd be like,
for sure.
that's kitchen table talk. You don't have to post it on social media.
Yeah, for sure.
You know
Obviously,
what I,
why I think it's troll.
You wouldn't say how is the 13-inch
really?
meat? You wouldn't ask her
You would
that.
get her to a place of honoring herself.
I think she said she was 18, right?
Yeah.
She said she was 18. I think that in her brain, attention, any attention, good or bad, is probably attention.
Yeah.
So she probably thought that by posting this, she knew it was going to get some sort of crazy viral sensation, and that she would become.
Now we're getting closer to the truth.
Yes.
I agree with you. I think that's what's happening. I think it was a fun. Like again, no matter what you do there, even if she was a paid actress, the reality is that woman will be identified at some point, and you're the 18-year-old. That video went viral. You understand what I'm saying? So her necessity for attention, that may have actually been the reason.
Yeah, but I still feel like I didn't get an answer. If it wasn't satire, would the women here say she was a slut?
Alice, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
What
At
do
the
you
same time, I think she's a slut. At the same time, I don't have problem with like people that are like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So she's a slut, but you don't care.
Her business is her business.
I completely understand that some women, they don't want to be in a relationship. They wanna. She's 18 years old. She didn't have too much sexual experiences. She's like watching porn or something, or like looking at those OnlyFans girls or something like that. And she's just like, oh my god, I want to experience that too. And that's her right.
I want to go
She
get
can do
wrecked
that.
in a bathroom stall.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that's what she would
Yeah,
do.
but
and
you
I
also
get
know
it.
that slut is a negative word. So you say that, yeah, you would consider her a slut.
Right.
But then you're excusing of it, and you're saying that pretty much, well, I would still be accepting of it. Well, if it's negative and you wouldn't even do it yourself, then how can you even be accepting of it? It kind of
What do you mean
refutes
accepting?
itself.
You just allow people to do what they want to do.
She's going to do what she's going to do. It's not up to her to tell her what she can do with her life. So she's like,
Yeah, that's not
I can't
correct.
change
I thought
her.
women need guidance from women.
Yeah, I thought you need guidance from women. That's what
I heard. Women need guidance from women.
Man, what a great clip I picked.
I do not
I was
call.
going to say that again.
Yeah. I don't call women sluts or whores or anything like that because listen, it doesn't matter.
Do you call guys broken bums?
Hold on. I don't call. I'm going to finish what I was saying. Bro, he just wants to argue. You cannot. I don't call women names like that. I disagree with their choices, and especially if it's a friend or someone I know, an acquaintance, or even someone that has like a sister relationship, I would give them good, solid, strong advice. But I don't like to call women names like that because there's way too many men out there women that are just minding their own business. Men are calling women that just for showing up. In the comments, I'm sure I've been called a hoe, Barrack Bunny, you name it, all the time.
It's so bad.
Just for being present, you know? So
For existing.
I don't call women names like that because men call women that just for being alive.
Unfortunately, I feel like I'm on the other side of that. It's like I feel like I play with that too much with my friends, like bitch or hey slut, little things like that. So maybe that does go into the negative.
Yeah,
I was actually going to say women call
I feel like
women
girls
names
do that
more
more.
than men call women those
Like,
names
hey,
because
I think
men
you
want
also
to
asked
sleep
her that
with
that
women.
way to trick her.
Yeah, but
I think
women,
everything that
women
you said
want
was to
men
trick
want
her,
to
and you
sleep
were
with
trying to
women.
trick her
Wrong
too.
and correct. Women want to sleep
How
with
is it a
men.
trick?
Yeah, it's not a trick. Men want to sleep with women, so therefore they're not going to be like, oh yeah, you're a whore. No, they're going to still smash the whore, so they're going to be like, yeah, you're a princess, when they know that she's a whore. So men really don't call girls whores because most men have a natural proclivity to sleep with most women.
Have you seen the chat? Because it's 304 comment after 304 comment after 304 comment after dried up after why are these women on here? They're all ugly. None of them can even touch us. We wouldn't even consider them. But they're sitting here every time that we say something at all.
My point is, they wouldn't say it to your face.
No, but that's my point. Every
wanna
time that we've said
smash.
anything to each other, rather than staying on topic and commenting on what's being said, they have attacked our looks. Every single one of us.
Oh, he did that.
I come here most of the time with no makeup on and sweatpants, and I sit right next to him
Yeah.
and I have a conversation. Today I decided I wanted to put on some makeup and a shirt because I'm going to do a photo shoot after this. But after every single point being made at this table, it's been nothing but disgusting comment after disgusting comment.
Do you think
anytime
that
a girl
has
opens her mouth.
anything to do with the way you are dressed? You have your cleavage out.
I'm
you
sure.
have your cleavage out.
I'm sure
The rest
men
of
don't
you
know how
guys
to.
is really
Hey, listen, ladies, I just want to let you know. I just want to let you know that if you want to put your cleavage out, contact us at Access Vegas.
We have
come on
no
the
problem.
fucking show. Rollo, contact Rollo. I'll get in trouble. Contact Rollo.
Yeah, Cooley, I don't know if you know this, but that's kind of what we do here.
No.
And make sure you get in the last word, bro. Make sure you get in the last word.
No, I gotta get to the super chat. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Thank you for the $200 one here. That's great,
geez.
man. First Lieutenant, with your logic, would you also have to justify the now dozens of instances that women have compromised our military's operations due to their reproductive abilities? Nuclear subs surfacing, for example. Why can the military not adopt a WAVE, W-A-V-E, structure for women like in World War II?
Okay, first of all,
There you go.
Thanks for $200 for that, chat. I appreciate that. But listen, the thing about reproductive systems is that both men and women have them. It's not women just getting themselves pregnant. So if they're down there on a submarine, which it wasn't until I think it was like 2015 or 16, somewhere in there, that women were even allowed to go on a submarine, for starters. So we haven't had this issue very long. But when they're down there underneath the ocean, who's getting her pregnant? It's the men getting the woman pregnant.
She could have gotten pregnant before she ever went on the sub.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility, but women actually have to take pregnancy tests before they go into combat environments, so it's very unlikely. So unless
Are they going into a combat environment when they're in a nuclear sub?
Sorry, any kind of mission, which that would be considered going on a mission, is to go below the surface. 100% you're taking a pregnancy test before you go down there.
Okay, so you're saying that the only way that these women are getting pregnant is
If they're on a submarine
because-
under the ocean.
Yeah, because men who are
For months at a
in-
time.
Yeah, because the men are impregnating them who are on the actual submarine. right?
100%.
Okay. Would that happen if there was no women present?
So listen, I think that if you're going back to the super chat, which was to talk about women compromising the combat scenario because of their reproductive systems, what I'm saying to this gentleman who paid $200, and again, thank you, sir, is that it takes two people. So the male also has a reproductive system. That's all I'm saying.
What's the WAVE structure? W-A-V-E?
That's the I think it's a Navy women's reserve. It's like a women's specific military service, but I think it's specific to the Navy. I had to look it up. I wasn't sure.
I do know that, more to your point, I do know that there's has been, at least in the past, a tendency for women to get pregnant just prior to deployment to avoid deployment.
Or sometimes to get
women do
out.
that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes for any number of different reasons. Men do that too. Men do malingering.
They get
do all
pregnant
kinds of
before
stuff
they
like
go
that.
for deployment.
No, they're just malingering.
This is 2024.
Yeah,
so
maybe. I don't know.
You're just talking about malingering or things like
Yeah.
that. I'm just saying that absent females being present, it's impossible to get them pregnant. Right? It's impossible to do.
That's a very simple argument.
Yeah,
that
but
is true.
it's a simple argument that has a lot of merit.
Yeah,
because-
but I think my whole issue with this is that there's so much focus on women being the problem, and it's like, well, hang on a second. Instead of blaming the woman, why don't you also talk to the men? Like, hey, dude, you're on duty. You have a
but that's a what
responsibility
about the men
to
don't
your
argument.
job. No, but you're making it about the women. All I'm saying is, like, if
That's
you're gonna
because specifically we're talking about a female problem here.
no, it's not just a female problem. It's
It
a male.
is.
I disagree.
Men are necessary to the military. Females
So
are
are
not
women.
necessary to the military. Therefore, if females are removed from the military, this problem goes away.
Okay, well, what I'm telling you in response to this chat specifically is that it's an equal problem. That the man got the woman pregnant, it wasn't her doing it on her own, and he also needs accountability, not just her.
Sure, but this problem does not exist if women are not in the military,
And
and
by
there's
the-
no actual reason to bring women in anything other than support roles into the military. This has always been the way it was done inside of the United States military until recently. Most women had support
Would you
roles.
consider being on a nuclear submarine a support role? For if women on a nuclear support.
I don't know. That's it. I personally.
I never served. Thank you very much. So I'll be the dumb idiot.
I will
here.
tell you, I get every time I flew.
There's your super chat.
Every time I flew over Iraq, everyone on the crew got combat pay. So I guess technically they probably would say that.
No. You were in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shoot. Yeah, we all.
I was in the Marines.
Oh, you
I was in
were?
the Army.
I didn't know. So there's 4 of us.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Very nice. Who can take a
I didn't know this.
take apart an
Were you guys
M4 the
hiding
faster?
it? Were you guys
How fast can you take apart an M4?
No, I'm not hiding it. I mean, I just I don't just be like, hey guys, I'm a veteran. You know what I mean? That's not my thing. If you ask me, I'll tell you.
I didn't know. That's so amazing.
Oh, man.
Thank you for your service. Yeah.
Thank
you,
all of you.
for yours.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
Yeah,
okay,
good.
cool. Derek, he's a little mean here. Okay, Derek, these women are insufferable. This is why the red pill and passport bros exist. I wouldn't even consider coffee with her. All this woke BS. She's only a 6 or 7 pass. Well, I won't. I would love all you ladies who are watching to come on Access Vegas.
Yes.
We'd love to have you.
100%.
You have a 600 body count. We want to hear all about it. Bring your ass here. We are
Get
not
on
judging
it.
much. Bring
Why
up,
is
bring up here.
commenting on her looks even a thing?
Oh,
I
would
don't
you like?
understand.
Because he needs to take that power. Like we all agree. Like he
Yeah.
even said it. They wouldn't say this to your face. These guys like are sitting there like they know they don't have a chance with you, so they're just going to say this.
Oh,
Dude,
no.
we had
So they
fucking
don't-
we
they don't
had
care that
3
they're
Miss
embarrassing
Nevadas on this
themselves in the
show,
comments?
and they
Yeah,
get
yeah.
called
Hold
ran
on.
through hoes. Like,
Talk about guidance. You the boys don't care that they're in the comments making themselves look just really, really
They don't
dumb.
even peck their own group. I mean, it's just insane. The last time I was on this show, I started commenting back to a few of the men that were super, super horrible about me without just cause. And they were so nice back. A couple of them started following me. Blah, blah, blah.
Because you gave them attention.
I
We never
just
said
ignore
men don't
them.
need guidance.
Yeah,
That's
for
not the
sure.
argument.
No, I'm
Men definitely
saying
need guidance.
take the next time that you're like in the tub or on the shitter, take your phone and start responding to these guys
Yeah.
and give them guidance since you
No,
have so much
this is what,
wisdom.
This is
He's
what
only
the
about
4
guiding
of
the
us
girls,
actually
though.
do.
But, so, wait,
This
wait,
is what
wait.
the 4 of us
So
actually do. We give men guidance.
Read,
I
okay,
know,
okay,
I know
wait,
you guys have
wait,
your
we're going to
programs.
see it in real time. We're going to see it in real time. Rollo, please. I've seen these comments about me
Yeah.
that people are paying money. Read one of these nasty comments
All right,
out
Space
that's about
Dude,
me.
single women absolutely
And I want you to
dist-
respond and
single
educate,
women-
give your good guidance to this male
All right,
about how they should
so
be talking to women.
Space Dude says single women absolutely destroy their friends' relationships, crabs in a bucket. I don't think that's relevant. Okay, that was just
Okay,
that
so
other dude. I got last one. Here's the
Go
last one.
ahead.
There's
I
the
can
last
do what
one. The
she
last
asked for,
one
too.
was
I can also.
I just want to thank the blonde military chick for staying single. She's doing all the men a favor. Imagine being married to this. And wait,
Go.
we got one nice one. Hold
Yeah,
on.
but the thing is, you can't imagine being married to the problem is when these dudes do this, they just like
The very
show
fact-
me your girl.
the
Like
very-
that's what I'm saying.
The very fact, yeah, exactly. I know. The very fact that you would say, "Well, I imagine being married to this." Well, I wouldn't. Don't think you'd be imagining being married at all. Just wanted to donate and say thank you, Mike and Rollo. I got my credit score to 500 now.
Nice.
From 500 to 780. I finally moved out into my first apartment and recently bought my dream car, a 2023 Kia Forte.
And that's nice. Hey, brother,
Thank
go,
you.
go and watch my
Forte.
my interview last week of 2 credit card gurus that'll help you build your credit. That's one I
The
put
reason
last-
why 34 and single is bad because she's more prone to high risk pregnancy. Older men don't want, so he picks women in her 20s. There you go.
So I would love
Russian chick, you're still killing it.
you guys to defend, you being a protector. These
Yeah.
are fucking horrible comments about.
But
No,
really
the comment
great
that
women.
she's doing that she's killing it because she hasn't opened her mouth.
to
Just
know
sit
that's
there.
gonna
Just sit
happen.
there and don't open your mouth. Meanwhile, 3 comments ago they said something nasty about her. But everybody else is like, well, she hasn't opened her mouth, so she's the cool one. You know what? That's human nature is to speak and to have disagreements, but they're so immature they can't comprehend a woman saying something and them listening.
Okay, so here's the guidance I would give, and then David, you can give
Yeah,
yours.
sure.
Right. So this is better bench press, 6-pack abs, incredibly fulfilled life, the woman of your dreams, the job of your dreams, total and complete fulfillment and freedom. Okay, and this is like teaching women a fucking lesson and calling them 304s. Both of these things have a place on YouTube. They do, and I'm telling you, I'm as guilty as anyone of watching this one. But I only fucking care about this one. It's the only one I'm interested in. So if you have these type of opinions about women, you probably don't want to join MOA mentoring because I'm only interested in you getting better, not you destroying women just because they won't date you. Calling women a 4 or 6 or a hoe or whatever. I just need to see who you're dating first before you keep saying that. That's
And
it.
they're spending their time
Yeah.
commenting these nasty things rather than getting a trade that would make them money
Correct.
and getting rich and actually being in the dating world where they're actually successful with women. So they're spending their time like I'll refrain from
Yeah,
saying what I'm
exactly.
saying.
I mean, but what the last
They're very
comment,
dedicated. Very
and what
dedicated
the
to their
last
craft.
comment said, he said truth, but the fact that he even had to, the fact that he's commenting that, right? Like a man that's on his journey and on his purpose.
The comment about the high risk pregnancy?
About all of it. Any of the comments that's, calling out names and stuff like that.
Sorry. Are you saying I'm a hoe?
No,
the high risk
no,
pregnancy.
Because he said he's saying truth.
No, about the high risk pregnancy at your age,
which is
what he's talking about.
He's disagreeing with the guy.
I think is that what you're saying?
Actually.
I don't want to defend you if you're saying some buffoonery.
No, listen, ladies.
Because he said he's saying
Hold on, if
truth.
you're saying shenanigans,
No,
and
y'all literally are like, you're not
Okay.
listening to understand. Y'all just is going in one ear and out the other. So this is what I'm saying. I'm speaking to the comments. You literally said you want me to give some men some guidance, so I'm giving them
but
guidance.
tell her
But
what
you-
specific comment you're saying is truthful because she doesn't know what you're referring to. That's the
I
problem.
said the last comment, the last
I think you need
guy
to work on
that
your
made
delivery.
the comment, what he said had truth in
About
it. It was
what?
truth.
Which comment? He
when
read
he
three.
said that a woman that's 34,
the high risk pregnancy.
It's high
That's
risk
what
pregnancy.
I just said.
Yeah,
so
like-
he's referring to that, not the whole comment.
Okay, let's go. Finish.
Yeah, got you. So yeah, pretty much all. Pretty much all I'm saying is that the men that even has the audacity and the mindset to make comments to women like this in the chat right now, greatly appreciate the support and watching the content.
Hold on, we got another one. This guy wants to be involved in the conversation. Same dude, laughing my ass off. By the way, I'm a married man with kids. No name calling. By the way,
He's so handsome, he's not even using his own profile photo.
Yeah, got you. So yeah, pretty much all I'm saying is men need to focus on a purpose instead of watch the content, get the game from it. But I mean, making a comment to make someone feel bad. If anything, you want to give guidance. So what the last comment pretty much just said, he did give truth into what he said. The other comments that's talking about y'all calling out 304s and stuff like that. In regards to you're saying like, well, why are they calling me these names? These comments are so bad. No, remember before, and pretty much what I was saying that, and I talked about the cleavage. I was saying that, well, you're sexualizing yourself, so therefore men are going to sexualize you as well.
Not once have I questioned why they're doing it. I think it's sad that they're doing it.
Okay, you think it's sad
and I think
that
that
they're
you
doing
need
it. Okay,
to
fair
give
enough.
guidance to other men the way that women need to give guidance
Most
to
of
other
these
women.
guys are-
Not
most
once
of these
have I
guys-
questioned
I
why they're
100%
doing it because
agree.
I know that they're low lives. I know that people who sit there and talk shit about other people that they don't know.
Got you.
Like,
well, here's a question for you. Do you
online?
think that you would get that energy if you withheld your sexuality?
100%
Okay.
had the
So
same.
let's think about it in
100%
Islam
have
when
had
a
the
woman
same.
wear the turbans and everything on them. They go full fledged. Do you think that
100
woman will be sexualized and be called the 304 on this panel?
Absolutely.
I 100% have come
think
on
she'll be
here
called
in
the 304?
sweatpants with no makeup on.
We're not talking
Still
about
gotten the
sweatpants.
No, I've
same,
seen it.
same nasty comments.
but they can also pick at other little things of. I'm not going to speak
That's not
about
my
you 'cause I don't
problem.
wanna
I could pick out 100 things of somebody else.
Great.
That's not
I'm just
the
talking
problem.
about sexualizing yourself. All I'm saying is, do you think that you'll get more negative responses from men if you didn't sexualize yourself as much? The
Absolutely.
answer
Look
is
at me.
you'll still get negative, but you won't get as much. So if you were more modest, right, and you
I'm
didn't
modest.
sexualize yourself,
I don't have an OnlyFans.
Okay.
I'm not.
So
a,
it's your
I'm like
fault,
literally
babe.
like.
It's your fault.
We
All
right.
understand.
She got raped because of what she was wearing.
Okay, here we go.
It's
And
all your
the
fault.
submarine is sinking.
The submarine is sinking.
Yeah.
Women don't need guidance and aren't emotional. Noted. Got it.
Okay.
Thanks,
Tara,
bro.
Tara, Tokyo, you guys need to level up. I'm in the gym listening in Tokyo. What are you dudes doing? Okay, awesome. Very cool. Allie, you're amazing. Thank you for carrying the show here today. Can you tell me what did you do you have any final thoughts for us?
Final thoughts, I would say to any girl, woman who is going to come on a show like this, just be ready for it. It's like, you know it's going to happen. And if you got your tits out, guess what? Somebody's going to comment on your tits or whatever. And just be ready for what is going to get thrown at you. I don't know.
Allie, please come back. Thank you. Well, I want you
will,
to
for
come back
sure.
and talk more.
Next time, this time was a little quiet, more
Yes,
reserved.
we'll bring you up to the front.
Observe it a little bit.
I got this one right. That is
Come to the front of the class.
the one
be
that's
back.
not Ava. That is the Loretta. Loretta.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for your point of view. I just really think that you need to work on your delivery hardcore. Like we know we're gonna be in a room with men and we're ready for it, and you guys have to be ready for it too. Like, don't come to us like we're on trial and you're our lawyers and try to trick us and say, do you think she's a slut? Because then she's gonna say she's a slut, and then you're gonna say, oh, you're being mean to women. Like, don't come at us like that. If you want to be on our side and have a real conversation, then be on our side.
Got
That's
it.
how I feel.
Okay, Mr. Cooley.
Yo, thank you for inviting me on, man.
Of course.
We've had this planned, I think, a few months. Actually, last year, a few months ago, it was in the making. So, man, it was a pleasure. Love you guys' content. I've learned a lot from you guys and what you've gave in this space, just as far as content creation and stuff like that. So, wish you guys the best, and I'm definitely willing to come back if you'll have me.
For sure. Hey, guys, make sure you check out the No Fugazi podcast. I watch it. It's really funny. You guys should check it out. It's really, really interesting stuff. Lieutenant Amy.
I just always appreciate a good conversation. So thanks for having me on. I love you guys. And girls are not hoes just because they're girls.
Okay, cool. And Alice, jump in here real quick. Alice, do you have any final thoughts for us here today?
I don't know. Men and women just love each other. That's it.
There we go. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. From the Russian girl. Thank you. Awesome. Very cool. Jesse.
Just to anybody listening and to the people in this table, listen to other people and take what you can from it. Being open to somebody else's perspective is not the end of the world. Being able to admit that you're wrong or that somebody else has a point without doing it distastefully or disrespectfully, I think goes a long way.
Word.
Wonderful. Okay, Miranda.
Stop
What's going
pointing
on,
the
Maureen?
finger, essentially. Love each other more. I think we should listen to understand, put ourselves in each other's shoes. And thank you for having me on. This was a really heated and spicy conversation. I've been watching both of your guys' videos. I was researching, so
there you go, Maureen.
I was trying to understand what I was getting into. So thank you for having me on.
All right.
Appreciate it.
And now you know why we brought Jesse Preston on.
There we go.
Thank you. At the end of the show.
And listen, nobody.
What did Jesse Preston do?
Jesse Preston didn't hit anyone. Andrew, how was your experience?
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it a lot. I will say, kind of in closing, when it comes to this, hey, you're being mean in the chat. I've seen conservative female content creators go live dressed very conservatively, just giving conservative viewpoints, and watch nothing but women in that chat rip her to shreds. Rip her looks to shreds, and they're always progressive women. And they always, half of the content creators who lead the charges are always dressed like skanks. They're always dressed like literal whores. And they tear these women down. They tear them apart. So I kind of find it disingenuous that, oh, hey, the chat's mean. The chat's fucking mean to everybody, everywhere you go. If I'm debating with a progressive, the chat's mean.
Yeah. Watch when I go on Fresh and
any
Fit
of these
next
people. That's the way it works. So no, he's not gonna go after the chat. You know what I mean? Like ultimately, fuck you. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not going after the chat. Bullshit. It's bullshit. This is the internet. So that's it.
Ava.
My favorite twin.
Thanks. You're kind of okay. Anyway, whether I agree or disagree with a lot of the things that you guys said, I think it was very entertaining, and you guys did a really, really good job. So props.
Gracias. I got one last $20 here from Tony Esquire, bro. I'm active duty U.S. Army CW2. Salute to Captain Sartain. Shout out to the Air Force. And notice that it is always two to tango when women get called out. Did Kim say that to Kanye, or did she take the full $200,000 per month of kid support?
Here we go. Gila Note, combat vet Marine, saw all the worst things. The blonde, while I disagree with several of her positions, is handling herself with a great deal of stoicism. Most impressive lady on the panel. So there's your simp comment, ha. So there's your simp comment, ha. All right, guys. Hey, thank you guys for joining us. Our next episode is going to be the 14th of March.
Yeah.
You guys want to come out to that?
And we should have Jim Sexton.
Oh, incredible. Yeah, Jim Sexton.
James
incredible.
Sexton, a divorce attorney extraordinaire.
Yes. So
Esquire.
He's going to come out.
I can actually say Esquire.
And he's going to talk about divorce and several things like that. Also, guys, Babes in Toyland on the 8th is going to be postponed. We're not doing the animal rescue charity then. We're going to do one in Miami. But on the 9th, we're having a Grammys party. If you guys are interested, Teatro LA is throwing that. If you guys want to come do that. For the rest of you guys, hey, come join my school server, SKOOL School, Men of Action free. Love to have you. And then read all of his books because they're required reading in the Men of Action program.
Get them all at Amazon.
You guys can do that. We will see you guys with more.
Everybody, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you guys. What an incredible panel. I knew this was going to be an explosion. Thank you guys for allowing us with all our misinformation, and we will see all of you in 3 weeks.
Peace.